Tang Wan'er didn't want to look at the faces of the higher-ups, so she handed the crystals to Xiaoyu, who was clenching her teeth and shooting a murderous gaze. Fearing Xiaoyu might explode, another retainer took the crystal and handed it up instead. As each group submitted their collected crystals, the 8 assistant pavilion masters started counting them in front of everyone. As they counted, Long Chun asked Xiaoyu and the others to properly tend to the fallen, planning to give them a proper burial when the time was right. As Xiaoyu carefully put away the bodies of her fallen sisters, she wept, "Big brother Long Chun, what did they do wrong? They were so kind, so innocent. Why won't the heavens spare us? It's our fault. We shouldn't have chosen to run from them. We should have met them head-on," said another retainer, who had previously supported avoiding the other groups during the competition. Guilt weighed heavily on her, and she felt responsible for their deaths. Long Chun shook his head and said, "Whether you retreated or charged forward, only the process would have changed, not the outcome. Learn from this. Constantly retreating and conceding won't bring peace. It only brings pain. And remember, the people around you may look human, but they're fiends in human skin. They are crueler and more devious than devils. Your sisters didn't fall to the blood devils. They died because of these fiends." Perhaps this was the harsh reality of cultivation. Wherever there were people, there was conflict. Where there was conflict, there was death. And if someone didn't kill, their enemy would kill them. No one could survive on kindness alone. As the Hidden Dragon Legion finished laying their sisters to rest, the counting of crystals was complete. To everyone's shock, the Hidden Dragon Legion ranked 7th, which seemed unbelievable. Impossible! They definitely cheated. Someone must have given them some blood devil blue crystals to inflate their numbers, shouted Qian Renxue, glaring at Feng Xingyue. This bitch clearly suspected them of cheating, but Feng Xingyue didn't even glance at her. Her focus was entirely on Tang Wan'er, and there was pain in her eyes. At this moment, no one else seemed to exist for her. Nonsense. These blood devil blue crystals are fresh, with bloodstains and lingering devil energy. They can't be fake, said one of the vice pavilion masters, unwilling to go along with such an absurd claim. This was just common sense. So, Qian Renxue didn't even have common sense but dared to accuse a divine wind elder? She was clearly lacking brains. Even though they supported Qian Renxue, no one could back such an obvious falsehood. It was simply ridiculous. But so many of their people died. Bu Qingyan cut in righteously. That's still a failure. As a commander, leading her team into danger and letting them die shows poor judgment. For her people to die while she survives unscathed, clearly, she used them as shields. Such a person doesn't deserve to rank among us. I propose we strip her of her divine daughter status. You! Tang Wan'er looked up, fury in her eyes. Everyone from the Hidden Dragon Legion was equally enraged, their hands clenched on their swords, ready to turn the ugly fatso into mincemeat if Long Chun gave the order. "I agree," said Mad Lightning. "I also agree." "Agreed." "I fully agree." One by one, the other divine sons and daughters followed Mad Lightning's lead. All 16 of them stepped forward in unison. The Hidden Dragon warriors were nearly exploding with rage. The blatant disrespect and sanctimonious criticism pushed their fury to the brink. Although the Hidden Dragon Legion didn't know every detail, it was clear from Long Chun and Tang Wan'er's conversations that this had been a trap from the start. Now these same people dared to criticize them, even as they mourned their fallen sisters. Thinking of this and seeing their contemptuous gaze, the Hidden Dragon warriors clenched their teeth so hard they almost shattered. Tang Wan'er quivered with rage but stayed silent. She had sworn to listen to Long Chin. If he wanted her to endure, she would endure with all her strength. At this point, one of the assistant pavilion masters stepped forward. "Quiet. The dead cannot be revived. I understand your emotions. However, Bu Qingyan is correct. This competition wasn't just about gathering blood devil blue crystals. It was also about testing a group's cohesion and the leadership of its commander." "Get to the point already," Long Chun interrupted, his patience wearing thin. If he let this bastard keep going on and on, He felt like he wouldn't be able to wait until the real competition. The assistant pavilion master glared at him, clearly annoyed, but swallowed his retort due to Long Chen's status. He continued, although the Hidden Dragon Legion's harvest was impressive, too many of their members died. Technically, they should be disqualified. However, because they're still young, we'll give them another chance. They'll be allowed to participate in the next round. The hypocrisy was staggering. It should have been the last-place team that got eliminated, but now even they were being allowed to continue. Despite the Hidden Dragon Legion passing, this elder made it sound like they were being granted mercy. Unfair. Unjust. Why should they be allowed to participate? Anyone could gather more crystals if they were willing to sacrifice lives. I could have done that too. The divine sons and daughters roared in outrage. Long Chen's fists creaked from how hard he clenched them. Looking at the hidden dragon warriors, he silently told them, "Remember their faces." Though unsure of Long Chen's plan, they memorized those faces, searing them into their minds. At this moment, the roulette spun again. The next round would take place on the Divine Stage battlefield, a chaotic elimination-style battle arena inside the Wind God Sea Pavilion. The battlefield was protected by a formation that would teleport anyone in mortal danger to safety, meaning no one would truly die. This was all overseen by the Wind Dominion Pearl, the Wind God Sea Pavilion's most powerful divine item. It possessed incomparable power and could predict when a person was about to die. In other words, anyone who died on this battlefield wouldn't really die. Their deaths would be played out by the Wind Dominion Pearl. Upon hearing this, the divine sons and daughters exchanged sinister smiles, glaring at the Hidden Dragon Legion. This chaotic battlefield was clearly chosen with them in mind. The next moment, the Wind Dominion Pearl quivered, and Long Chen and the others appeared in the sky. Below them, an enormous martial stage materialized. "Kill!" roared all the opposing groups in unison, charging at the Hidden Dragon Legion. "Sisters, the time for vengeance has come. Your fallen sisters are watching you. Slaughter them all!" shouted Long Chen. "Kill!" The Hidden Dragon warriors' long-brewing killing intent erupted as they charged forward, meeting their attackers head-on. The 16 divine sons and daughters stood by. It seemed that they wanted to enjoy the sight of the Hidden Dragon warriors being killed. Just like that, blood sprayed through the air, heads flew, and limbs were severed. The brutal carnage elicited gasps of shock from both the battlefield and the spectators outside. Blood rained from the sky as one corpse after another collapsed, leaving the onlookers horrified. According to the rules, anyone killed should have been transported off the stage, which represented that they had lost and could not keep participating. The goal was to stay on the stage for as long as possible, and that was how they were ranked. But this time was different. From the moment the battle began, participants were truly dying, and the stage wasn't transporting them out. The disciples on the battlefield turned pale when they realized the deaths were real. In an instant, their arrogance vanished, replaced by sheer terror. The higher-ups watching were equally shocked. The battle scenes were projected throughout the Wind God Sea Pavilion, causing gasps and startled cries from the audience. Only Feng Xinyue smiled calmly. "He really didn't disappoint me," she said softly. "What is going on?" roared an assistant pavilion master. "Look at that!" Suddenly, one elder pointed at the stones scattered throughout the stage. "Inverse wind stones. Why are they here? Aren't they supposed to be?" The old crone cried out but quickly covered her mouth. Indeed, 360 blood-colored stones lay scattered across the stage, unnoticed until now. Upon seeing them, the higher-ups panicked. No one else knew better than them what these inverse wind stones represented. They disrupted the Wind Dominion Pearl's power, transforming this into a true battle of life and death. "Stop!" shouted an assistant pavilion master. Tang Wanner's eyes blazed with fury. "Stop? You didn't call for that when they were killing us. You didn't stop when you twisted the rules in your favor. When you suppressed, bullied, and abused us, where was your call to stop? Keep dreaming. Today I will avenge my sisters. A tooth for a tooth, blood for blood, A life for a life. With that, Tang Wanner charged through the disciples, her sword cleaving them apart. Like a berserker, she raced toward the 16 divine sons and daughters. Kill! Tang Wanner's frenzy ignited the hidden dragon legion, who unleashed their long-suppressed rage. Thinking of how their sisters had died because of these people, they were filled with overflowing killing intent. Hence, they didn't show the slightest mercy. Boom! Mad Lightning lunged at Tang Wanner with his lightning spear, blocking her sword. But with a powerful explosion, he was sent flying. Tang Wanner was also forced to a halt, her blood chi flipping. However, she didn't bother adjusting her condition and directly shot after Mad Lightning, swinging her sword at him. Shocked and caught off guard, Mad Lightning thrust his spear at her. Though he attacked second, since he used a spear, his strike would land first. However, Tang Wanner ignored it and still swung her sword toward his head. Panicking, Mad Lightning jerked his head to the side and swung his spear to block. The spears but collided with the blade, but the sword chi sliced a piece of his scalp, sending blood spraying into the air. Mad Lightning screamed in terror. Just now, if he had reacted one step slower, his head would have been cut in half. "She's crazy. She's gone absolutely mad," shrieked Mad Lightning as he fled. Tang Wanner chased after him. However, when she spotted the frightened Qian Renxue, her killing intent went in her direction. "You're angry that I took your spot, right? You see me as a thorn in your side? You wanted a life and death battle, huh? Fine." Fueled by both old and new grievances, Tang Wanner attacked Qian Renxue with unrelenting fury. Qian Renxue was paralyzed by the murderous look in Tang Wanner's eyes. It was as if she had been possessed by an Azura. Overwhelmed by the sheer killing intent, Qian Renxue felt an icy fear grip her heart. She didn't even have the courage to fight back and immediately turned to flee. "Don't retreat. Attack her together," shouted a divine son. If Qian Renxue kept fleeing, it would only be a matter of time before Tang Wanner caught up and killed her. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the other divine sons and daughters quickly joined forces. Tang Wanner's berserk fighting style was practically suicidal, and anyone facing her alone was at risk of being killed. Despite repeatedly fleeing, Qian Renxue was no match for Tang Wanner's relentless assault. In just a few moves, Tang Wanner disarmed her, sending her sword flying. "No!" Qian Renxue screamed in terror. Tang Wanner's sword fell, slicing Qian Renxue in half before anyone could intervene. Just like that, a divine daughter's life ended in front of everyone. The other divine sons and daughters reached Tang Wanner at this moment. But all of a sudden, Tang Wanner shouted, and her manifestation blazed with light. When her sword fell, a white moon fong sliced through the air, sending all of them flying. "What?" Everyone was shocked by this scene. Just when did Tang Wanner get this strong? "She's finally begun to awaken," murmured Feng Xinhue, smiling in satisfaction. She had been waiting for this moment. Tang Wanner fought the divine sons and daughters all on her own, her killing intent shaking them to their core. Her strikes were relentless. As one round of her attacks ended, a divine son made the fatal mistake of exposing an opening. In an instant, Tang Wanner's sword slashed through him, cutting him in two. Before anyone could react, her sword twisted again, and the two halves of his body were sliced into four. The divine son's soul was immediately extinguished, but even after the kill, Tang Wanner's bloodlust didn't wane. It only grew stronger. Her continued assault shattered their pride and confidence. With two of their own already dead, the remaining divine sons and daughters were too terrified to put up a fight. The process of deactivating the battlefield had already begun, but it would take at least an hour to fully activate the Wind Dominion Pearl's power. When they saw Tang Wanner in a state of frenzied rage, it was clear these disciples wouldn't survive for that long. Suddenly, Mad Lightning's gaze shifted toward Long Chun, who was calmly observing the chaos. Blinded by fury, Mad Lightning shot toward him with burning anger. "Capture him alive!" one of the divine sons shouted. Long Chun stood still, his hands casually clasped behind his back. Just as Mad Lightning's hand was about to reach his neck, Long Chan shook his head and sighed. It seems the heavens have decided I must deal with you. Kneel! Mad Lightning roared, unleashing a surge of violet Doyan energy, crackling with lightning, as it engulfed Long Chan. But in the midst of the lightning storm, a hand covered in starlight pierced through the violet energy, slapping Mad Lightning directly in the face. With a thunderous explosion, the lightning dissipated. When the dust settled, people saw a twitching figure with only half his face remaining, and it was lying under Long Chen's foot. You wanted to bully a weakling, huh? Asked Long Chen. Long Chen eyed Mad Lightning beneath his foot, a sinister smile spreading across his face. As he recalled the words Mad Lightning had said to him when they first met, icy killing intent surged within him. Mad Lightning had sneak attacked Long Chen, only to be slapped to the ground, shocking everyone. No one even saw how Long Chen had moved, but Mad Lightning suddenly lay beneath his foot, half dead and helpless. Is it me who is angry, or is it my heart devil? Long Chen muttered to himself. His body trembled as a fierce desire to kill surged within him. Long Chen remembered how, back then, Mad Lightning had brazenly told Tang Wan'er to follow him instead, and everything happened right in front of Long Chen, touching his reverse scale. That memory caused Long Chen's killing intent to spike uncontrollably. Back then, he had told himself he'd only slap someone for angering him, not kill them. But now, his heart devil was pushing him, feeding his thirst for blood. An assistant pavilion master, Mad Lightning's ancestor, roared, Long Chen, if you dare to kill Mad Lightning, I will definitely. Boom! Long Chen was doing his best to control his emotions when that elder's words triggered him. In an instant, his foot slammed down and Mad Lightning exploded. That stomp wasn't something he intended. It was a reaction to the elder's threat that caused his killing intent to erupt like a volcano. Afterward, Long Chen's fists clenched tightly, creaking from the force. He had tried to suppress his violent emotions, but the elder's words shattered all his restraint. He was filled with hatred. He had failed. In other words, he had gotten one step closer to the abyss of losing control. Next, it would become harder and harder to control himself. Actually, Long Chen had never thought of letting Mad Lightning off. He simply wanted to leave that bastard to Tang Wan'er, so she could kill him and avenge her sisters. After all, there was a fundamental difference between killing that bastard because of anger and because of vengeance. But in the end, the elder's threat made Long Chen lose control. Why are both the young and the old so stupid? Long Chen muttered, raising his gaze to meet the elder's dumbfounded face. I'll kill you, the elder roared, raising a tablet in his hand as he charged at the battlefield's barrier. No, you can't go inside. Your cultivation base will be suppressed to that of an 8-vein emperor, shouted one of his companions, dragging him back. Release me, the elder roared, shaking off the hand holding him back. He shot toward the barrier in an instant, while the other elders gathered together, seemingly unintentionally, positioning themselves in front of Feng Xinyue. Feng Xinyue smiled disdainfully. They were clearly trying to block her from entering the battlefield. But she didn't budge. She had no intention of joining the fray. The aggrieved assistant pavilion master slammed the tablet in his hand onto the barrier. The barrier shuddered, allowing him to pass through, while the tablet disintegrated into dust. After entering, he let out a thunderous roar and summoned his manifestation. A powerful emperor aura locked onto Long Chen, shaking the entire battlefield and affecting everyone present. Pavilion Master, kill them. They've gone crazy, screamed a divine son in panic. They were already retreating in disarray under Tang Wan'er's crazy attacks, any one of them at risk of being killed at any moment. Although they were all powerful, they had always relied on their elders' favor and protection. None of them had ever truly faced death. But now, after witnessing the deaths of a divine son and daughter, their courage shattered completely. Meanwhile, the hidden dragon warriors continued to hunt down the remaining disciples. Blood had long since soaked the battlefield. Die! The elder bellowed as he lunged at Long Chen, throwing the full weight of his life's cultivation into a powerful palm strike. Dragon blood battle armor. A dragon cry rang throughout the land, followed by the surge of majestic dragon might. Long Chen met the elder's strike with his own bare hand. Sovereign blood seal, God-slaying cross. No one expected Long Chen to face the attack of an assistant pavilion master with nothing but his hand. Boom! When their palms collided, a blood-colored cross instantly pierced the assistant pavilion master's hand and tore into his body, continuing onward until it slammed into the battlefield's barrier. The barrier, which even 9 vain human emperors couldn't shake, cracked under the impact, shocking everyone. Even Feng Xinyue's expression changed. The power of Long Chen's strike far exceeded her expectations. Long Chen himself was surprised by the strength of his god-slaying cross, but in his current state, he paid it no mind. As the elder's body was shattered by Long Chen's attack, his fury had turned into terror. Without hesitation, he fled. But just as he tried to escape, Long Chen grabbed his hair and yanked him back. He drove his knee into the elder's face, smashing his nose. Why? Boom! Why? Long Chen snarled, slamming his knee into the elder again. Boom! Why must you force me? With every blow, Long Chen's voice grew darker, more ferocious. He was venting all the rage bottled up inside him. On the 4th blow, the elder's head finally caved in, shattering beneath Long Chen's relentless knee strikes. As the elder's head broke apart, his Yuan spirit escaped the limits of his body and fled. Even if he lost his physical body, it was still good if he could escape with his Yuan spirit. However, just as his Yuan spirit flew out, Long Chen extended his hand. Black flames surged from his palm, engulfing the elder's fleeing spirit. Yen Su flame! Feng Xinyue gasped in shock. Long Chen could control the Yen Su flame? HH! The elder screamed in agony as his Yuan spirit was consumed by the black fire. Yen Su soul refinement! Long Chen roared, and the Yen Su flames intensified. Boom! The elder's Yuan spirit exploded, transforming into nothing but black smoke. You wanted to bully a weakling, huh? Asked Long Chen. Long Chen eyed mad lightning beneath his foot, a sinister smile spreading across his face. As he recalled the words Mad Lightning had said to him when they first met, icy killing intent surged within him. Mad Lightning had sneak attacked Long Chen, only to be slapped to the ground, shocking everyone. No one even saw how Long Chen had moved, but Mad Lightning suddenly lay beneath his foot, half dead and helpless. Is it me who is angry, or is it my heart devil? Long Chen muttered to himself. His body trembled as a fierce desire to kill surged within him. Long Chen remembered how, back then, Mad Lightning had brazenly told Tang Wan'er to follow him instead, and everything happened right in front of Long Chen, touching his reverse scale. That memory caused Long Chen's killing intent to spike uncontrollably. Back then, he had told himself he'd only slap someone for angering him, not kill them. But now, his heart devil was pushing him, feeding his thirst for blood. An assistant pavilion master, Mad Lightning's ancestor, roared, Long Chen, if you dare to kill Mad Lightning, I will definitely. Boom! Long Chen was doing his best to control his emotions when that elder's words triggered him. In an instant, his foot slammed down and Mad Lightning exploded. That stomp wasn't something he intended. It was a reaction to the elder's threat that caused his killing intent to erupt like a volcano. Afterward, Long Chen's fists clenched tightly, creaking from the force. He had tried to suppress his violent emotions, but the elder's words shattered all his restraint. He was filled with hatred. He had failed. In other words, he had gotten one step closer to the abyss of losing control. Next, it would become harder and harder to control himself. Actually, Long Chen had never thought of letting Mad Lightning off. He simply wanted to leave that bastard to Tang Wan'er, so she could kill him and avenge her sisters. After all, there was a fundamental difference between killing that bastard because of anger and because of vengeance. But in the end, the elder's threat made Long Chen lose control. Why are both the young and the old so stupid? Long Chun muttered, raising his gaze to meet the elder's dumbfounded face. I'll kill you, the elder roared, raising a tablet in his hand as he charged at the battlefield's barrier. No, you can't go inside. Your cultivation base will be suppressed to that of an 8-vein emperor, shouted one of his companions, dragging him back. Release me, the elder roared, shaking off the hand holding him back. He shot toward the barrier in an instant, while the other elders gathered together, seemingly unintentionally, positioning themselves in front of Feng Xinyue. Feng Xinyue smiled disdainfully. They were clearly trying to block her from entering the battlefield. But she didn't budge. She had no intention of joining the fray. The aggrieved assistant pavilion master slammed the tablet in his hand onto the barrier. The barrier shuddered, allowing him to pass through, while the tablet disintegrated into dust. After entering, he let out a thunderous roar and summoned his manifestation. A powerful emperor aura locked onto Long Chun, shaking the entire battlefield and affecting everyone present. Pavilion Master, kill them. They've gone crazy, screamed a divine son in panic. They were already retreating in disarray under Tang Wanner's crazy attacks, any one of them at risk of being killed at any moment. Although they were all powerful, they had always relied on their elders' favor and protection. None of them had ever truly faced death. But now, after witnessing the deaths of a divine son and daughter, their courage shattered completely. Meanwhile, the hidden dragon warriors continued to hunt down the remaining disciples. Blood had long since soaked the battlefield. Die! The elder bellowed as he lunged at Long Chun, throwing the full weight of his life's cultivation into a powerful palm strike. Dragon blood battle armor! A dragon cry rang throughout the land, followed by the surge of majestic dragon might. Long Chun met the elder's strike with his own bare hand. Sovereign blood seal, God-slaying cross. No one expected Long Chun to face the attack of an assistant pavilion master with nothing but his hand. Boom! When their palms collided, a blood-colored cross instantly pierced the assistant pavilion master's hand and tore into his body, continuing onward until it slammed into the battlefield's barrier. The barrier, which even 9-vein human emperors couldn't shake, cracked under the impact, shocking everyone. Even Feng Xinyue's expression changed. The power of Long Chun's strike far exceeded her expectations. Long Chun himself was surprised by the strength of his god-slaying cross, but in his current state, he paid it no mind. As the elder's body was shattered by Long Chun's attack, his fury had turned into terror. Without hesitation, he fled. But just as he tried to escape, Long Chun grabbed his hair and yanked him back. He drove his knee into the elder's face, smashing his nose. Why? Boom! Why? Long Chun snarled, slamming his knee into the elder again. Boom! Why must you force me? With every blow, Long Chun's voice grew darker, more ferocious. He was venting all the rage bottled up inside him. On the fourth blow, the elder's head finally caved in, shattering beneath Long Chun's relentless knee strikes. As the elder's head broke apart, his Yuan spirit escaped the limits of his body and fled. Even if he lost his physical body, it was still good if he could escape with his Yuan spirit. However, just as his Yuan spirit flew out, Long Chun extended his hand. Black flames surged from his palm, engulfing the elder's fleeing spirit. Yen Su flame! Feng Xinyue gasped in shock. Long Chun could control the Yen Su flame? HH! The elder screamed in agony as his Yuan spirit was consumed by the black fire. Yen Su soul refinement! Long Chun roared, and the Yen Su flames intensified. Boom! The elder's Yuan spirit exploded, transforming into nothing but black smoke. Bu Qingyan's chest was pierced through, with thunder force ravaging her wound, paralyzing her. With a lost expression, she slowly turned back. However, there was no one there. Long Chun was standing far away, still in a throwing stance. How is this possible? Bu Qingyan stared at her chest, feeling her life force rapidly slipping away. Her heart was consumed by rage and resentment. She hadn't even sensed the danger when Long Chen struck, nor did she feel the sword piercing her. It was as if the attack came out of nowhere. Long Chen stared at her coldly. In truth, that sword hadn't been aimed at her specifically. It wasn't aimed at anyone. She had simply turned toward the hidden dragon legion, placing herself in the sword's path. The thunder force on the blade effortlessly broke through her divine protection and penetrated her body. This was a predictive attack, a technique that seemed simple but was nearly impossible to execute with such precision. Yet Long Chen had done it. Paralyzed by the thunder force, Bu Qingyan was helpless as she saw a figure rushing toward her. She tried to raise her weapon to protect herself, but her body refused to obey. In her final moments, she could only watch as Xiao Yu's sword severed her head. Xiao Yu caught Bu Qingyan's head. Through gritted teeth, she sneered, "Bitch, my sisters will be happy to have your head as an offering." After that, Xiao Yu tied Bu Qingyan's head to her belt and flew at a divine sun. Her ferocity sent chills down the spines of countless onlookers. Her sword danced through the air, forming a whirlwind of suicidal killing moves. Seeing this, the divine sun was too terrified to fight properly and was repeatedly forced back. Inspired by Xiao Yu's ferociousness, Tang Wanner's other retainers took the initiative to attack before the divine sons and daughters could turn toward the hidden dragon legion. They fought with reckless abandon, indifferent to their own survival. Their only thought was revenge, and only the blood of their enemies could bring any comfort to the spirits of their fallen sisters. At this point, the hidden dragon legion had abandoned their formation, scattering to hunt down the fleeing disciples. From the moment the battle started, it had been a one-sided slaughter. Now, tens of thousands of bodies littered the ground, a chilling and gruesome sight. While the divine sons and daughters were held at bay by the retainers, Tang Wanner swiftly dispatched them, often with a single strike. In just a short time, all the divine sons and daughters were dead. With only the regular disciples remaining, one of them suddenly dropped his weapon and knelt, pleading for mercy. "Don't kill us! Please, we didn't do anything. We didn't know anything at all. The ones who hurt you have been killed. The leaders are dead." In seconds, the others followed suit, throwing down their arms and begging for their lives. The hidden dragon legion's warriors hesitated, their swords hovering in midair. The battlefield fell silent. Of the original 57,000 disciples, fewer than 20,000 remained. Those left alive trembled in fear, while the pavilion's higher-ups clenched their jaws, powerless to stop the slaughter. Everyone watching was stunned. Nothing like this had ever happened in the long history of the Wind God Sea Pavilion. 16 divine sons and daughters, all killed. Most of their heads dangled on Xiao Yu's belt. Those whose heads weren't there had been too mangled to hang. Facing the disciples who had surrendered, the hidden dragon warriors hesitated. Although they despised them for their past bullying, they found it difficult to kill those now kneeling and begging for mercy. "Damn brutes! Just you wait!" The assistant pavilion master seethed. They had watched their descendants fall but hadn't dared to intervene. Their fury was palpable, but they didn't have the courage to step onto the battlefield. They wanted to tear Long Chen and the hidden dragon legion apart. As for Feng Xinyue, she remained seated, smiling as she watched what was happening. She seemed very pleased by the events unfolding. Tang Wanner stood beside Long Chen, her body drenched in blood, her expression cold and unyielding. Even though she had slain many and her sword dripped with the blood of countless disciples, her eyes still burned with killing intent. No matter how many enemies she killed, it wouldn't bring her fallen sisters back. Seeing the disciples on their knees, she turned to Long Chen, silently asking for his direction. If he gave the word, she would finish them off. "You should decide for yourself," replied Long Chen. Given Long Chen's character, there was no need to ask his opinion. These people had all participated in this scheme, setting up the trap. When they placed the inverse wind stones, they had not once thought about leaving the hidden dragon legion alive. After enduring this battle, Long Chen believed that Tang Wanner had already matured. She understood now that compassion for the enemy was cruelty to oneself. The principles of mercy didn't apply on the battlefield. With a determined nod, Tang Wanner approached the kneeling disciples. As she neared, her killing intent flared, and the hidden dragon warriors readied their weapons. There would be no mercy, no one had ever shown them any. What's the point of begging now? When you set your trap to kill us, did you give us a chance to kneel and plead for our lives? Can my dead sisters be brought back if I beg for mercy? Tang Wanner's voice trembled with fury as her resolve solidified with each step. Don't kill us. Please, I beg you. Before they could finish, space twisted around them, and the battlefield vanished. In an instant, they reappeared in the plaza. Once they were back, the surviving disciples cheered, thinking that they were safe. One of them even had the gall to curse. You damn bitches. Your deaths are coming. Just wait and… Tang Wanner swung her sword, turning them all into blood mist. In the end, their fate didn't change. Capture these brutes. Don't let them escape, roared an assistant pavilion master. Countless experts began to surround Long Chun and the others, but Long Chun merely glanced at them with disdain. He then turned to Feng Xinyue. Senior, we've taken half of our revenge. Now, I need to send some old fellows' heads to our fallen sisters. I trust you have no objections. How brazen. Capture him. Anyone who resists shall be executed on the spot. One of the assistant pavilion masters roared. The assistant pavilion masters were furious to see Long Chun still act so arrogantly. So, when one of them shouted angrily, they all summoned weapons into their hands. Who dares to try it? Feng Xinyue slowly rose, her eyes cold as she gazed at them. You dogs have been in power for too long, so you started to believe you're the masters of this place. Just who gave you that courage? Courting death. One of the divine wind elders, the old crone, roared and slashed her claw at Feng Xinyue. However, before anyone could react, the old crone's head flew into the air, and her body crumpled to the ground. When the head tumbled to the ground, it rolled until it stopped at Tang Wanner's feet. Everyone froze and stared in horror at the head. Even in death, the old crone hadn't understood how she was killed, her eyes wide open with disbelief. Long Chun was just as shocked. Feng Xinyue hadn't moved a muscle, no hand seal, no fluctuation of blood qi or spiritual strength. Yet the old crone was dead. With his immense spiritual strength, Long Chun could barely sense the faintest breeze of wind energy before the crone's life was snuffed out. Long Chun was stunned. The strongest expert he had ever encountered was the Silver Hair Void Crusher. But even he couldn't kill without making a move. What Feng Xinyue had done was on an entirely different level. The rest of the higher-ups were all paralyzed with fear. Their very souls seemed to tremble in Feng Xinyue's presence. When Feng Xinyue first arrived, due to her possessing the Wind God's tablet, she was given the status of a divine wind elder as a descendant of the Wind God. From the start, all of them had been trying to squeeze her out, secretly probing the power of the so-called descendant of the Wind God. However, Feng Xinyue ignored all their attempts, never revealing her true strength. Now that they saw her abilities, they were all horrified, realizing they had provoked a calamity. Wow! A divine wind elder killing another divine wind elder. Just what is happening here? A voice suddenly rang out, startling everyone. Long Chun turned to see a middle-aged man seated casually atop the divine palace in front of the plaza. He chewed on a stalk of grass, and the grass fluctuated as he chewed. He looked very content. The man seemed to be in his 30s, dressed in black robes and beast-hide boots, with a black broadsword resting beside him. His aura was completely concealed. Had he not spoken, Long Chun wouldn't have sensed his existence. Long Chen's attention was instantly drawn to his broadsword. It radiated immense sacred energy. It was clearly a terrifying divine weapon. The man's aura was completely concealed, making it impossible for even Long Chun to gauge his cultivation level. His sudden appearance left Long Chun shocked. The assistant pavilion masters were even more rattled. The moment they saw the broadsword beside the man, their faces changed dramatically, and they cried out in unison, "Divine emissary!" A divine emissary was a god's envoy, second in rank only to the pavilion master within the Wind God Sea Pavilion. However, this position was so shrouded in mystery that even the assistant pavilion masters had never seen an emissary before. Over time, many of them started to believe that the role might not even exist. Legends spoke of divine emissaries as the protector battle gods of the Wind God Sea Pavilion, beings who would only reveal themselves when the pavilion faced dire threats. While no one had seen them, it was known that the divine emissaries always wielded the Wind God's blade, an ancient weapon blessed by the Wind God. This blade was said to possess the power to tear the heavens and the earth asunder, and it featured a pearl engraved on it, the exact likeness of the Wind Dominion Pearl. This pearl was the unmistakable mark of a god-blessed weapon and the unique weapon of the divine emissaries. All the higher-ups of the Wind God Sea Pavilion were left stunned by its appearance. In contrast, Feng Xingyue seemed entirely unfazed. She asked calmly, "Are you here to protect these people?" The divine emissary shrugged helplessly and replied, "This young friend's killing intent is overwhelming. With you here, if I didn't intervene, he'd kill them all. That wouldn't end well." "What wouldn't end well about it? Clearing away tumors, even if it means carving into bone, is the way to full recovery. These people are a waste of air. Burying them would be a waste of dirt. I don't see the point in leaving them alive," Long Chun said coldly. The pavilion's higher-ups were enraged by his words, but none dared voice their anger in the presence of the divine emissary. Meanwhile, they grew increasingly uneasy at Feng Xinyue's calm reaction to the emissary, as if she had expected his arrival all along. This realization gave them a bad feeling. "No, little brother, you're wrong," the middle-aged man said with a shake of his head. "What's wrong with what I said?" demanded Long Chun. "The earth does not give birth to nameless grass, and the heavens do not give birth to worthless people. Though their characters are lacking, these people still hold significance for the Wind God Sea Pavilion. They cannot be killed, at least not right now," replied the emissary. Hearing this, Long Chun turned toward Tang Wan'er. Since this was a matter involving the Wind God Sea Pavilion, it wasn't his place to interfere further. The decision was hers to make. "Do you want them dead or alive? If you want them dead, I will make it happen, no matter the cost," said Long Chun, his voice unwavering. If Tang Wan'er wanted their lives, then even if the divine emissary tried to stop her, Long Chun would kill them all. "Hey, little brother, that's going too far. I call you brother, but you still don't give me any face," the middle-aged man teased, his tone light. Though he held the revered title of divine emissary, he carried himself with a lazy, indifferent air. His casual demeanor left people unsure of his true strength, and some even started to suspect he might be a fraud. Tang Wan'er looked at the hidden dragon warriors. After the brutal battle, their fury had finally subsided. 16 divine sons and daughters had been slain along with their accomplices. That was enough to comfort the spirits of the fallen hidden dragon warriors. "I swear my sisters will not die in vain," Tang Wan'er promised to herself. "For the sake of the Wind God Sea Pavilion, I'm willing to wait, but I will claim their heads sooner or later." Her merciless words made Feng Xinyue's eyes glimmer with a hint of approval. "Child, you've finally started to awaken," Feng Xinyue remarked softly. "Wan'er, don't hold back. If you want to kill them, do it. I swear you can take them down before the divine emissary can interfere," Long Chun transmitted to Tang Wan'er. However, Tang Wan'er responded with a maturity that Long Chun hadn't seen before. "Long Chun, after everything we've been through, I've learned so much. Right now, I want them to live. Their heads can stay where they are for now, as a reminder of the pain they've caused us. Each time we see them, it'll fuel our resolve. And when I'm in the mood, whether I'm feeling good or bad, I'll take their heads. Let them live in constant fear of death." Long Chun looked into Tang Wan'er's tear-filled eyes and felt a deep ache in his heart. Growth often came at a heavy price, and the losses of the Hidden Dragon warriors weighed heavily on her. Every member of the Hidden Dragon Legion had been personally chosen by Tang Wan'er, not for their talent or strength, but for their kindness. She had always remembered Long Chen's words. Kind people deserve to be treated with warmth by this world. If the world won't provide that warmth, then we'll create a new world for them. Long Chun had first said these words when they visited the spirit race's world, a place where purity and kindness seemed to radiate from every being. It was the first time they saw such pure eyes and felt such pure kindness. They could let down all their defenses and embrace every single one of them. The spirit race's goodness had a large impact on the Dragonblood Legion, who had grown accustomed to endless slaughter. At the time, Long Chun saw them freely dancing and singing. It was during this peaceful moment that Long Chun made his promise. Tang Wanner had taken those words to heart. She had sworn that one day, when she was strong enough, she would protect the kind-hearted. That dream had given rise to the Hidden Dragon Legion. However, in their first battle, the Hidden Dragon Legion suffered a cruel blow. Tang Wanner watched helplessly as tens of her sisters were killed, and she couldn't do anything to save them. The pain of that loss, coupled with the crushing weight of self-blame, was like poison gnawing at her heart. This ordeal had hardened her. The once naive Tang Wanner had become a more decisive, determined leader. Long Chun was aggrieved for her, but he knew that these were experiences she had to go through as a commander. He had endured similar pain when the Dragonblood Legion had suffered devastating losses on the Martial Heaven continent. It was a pain that haunted him to this day. Though Long Chun wished he could carry her burden, Tang Wanner was no longer a solitary warrior. She was the commander of the Hidden Dragon Legion and had to lead them forward. Once she had taken on this role, there was no turning back. She had to follow through and keep advancing forward with them. At this moment, the divine emissary jumped down from the palace and walked over to everyone. When he stood in front of them, Long Chun's heart shook. Previously, Long Chun had been unable to sense the divine emissary's aura at all. But now that he was closer, Long Chun's astral energy suddenly started to circulate. This divine emissary was even more terrifying than Long Chun had expected. Despite giving off no hostility, the pressure he gave Long Chun activated his astral energy automatically. The divine emissary looked at Long Chun with a hint of surprise, making Long Chun's heart tighten. He had a feeling this man had seen through him, but the emissary said nothing. He turned to the assistant pavilion masters and declared, "Today's matter ends here. All those with positions in the Wind God Sea Pavilion are hereby forbidden to leave Wind God Island." The faces of the higher-ups changed. They appeared to understand something but kept their emotions in check and slowly dispersed. With a wave of his hand, the divine emissary activated the Wind Dominion Pearl, and its divine light enveloped the entire Wind God Sea Pavilion. He then bowed slightly to Feng Xinyue, waved to Long Chun, and with a few steps, vanished from sight. Tang Wanner dismissed the Hidden Dragon Legion to rest on Hidden Dragon Island. She and Long Chun then made their way to Feng Xinyue's palace. Once inside, with no one else around, Tang Wanner could no longer hold back her emotions. She threw herself into Feng Xinyue's arms, sobbing, "Master!" Feng Xinyue gently embraced her disciple, her face etched with sorrow. She sighed, "Child, I told you not to form the Hidden Dragon Legion. Being a commander is much harder than you could ever imagine. Do you regret it now?" Tang Wanner cried in her master's chest, but she firmly shook her head. She clearly did not regret making this decision. She just couldn't accept the deaths of her sisters. "Child, this is the price of growth," murmured Feng Xinyue, stroking Tang Wanner's hair. "I know you're tired, child. Rest now. When you wake up, it will be a new day." Tang Wanner's sobs gradually faded as she fell asleep. Feng Xinyue gently laid her down before turning to Long Chun. She said, "You have many questions, don't you? Sit." Long Chun waited for Feng Xinyue to sit before asking, "Senior, I don't understand. Why would such a powerful force like the Wind God Sea Pavilion be controlled by people worse than dogs and pigs? There are many things behind the scenes that you don't know about. The assistant pavilion master you killed was an undercover agent from the Brahma Pill Valley, and the old crone I killed was a spy from the Soaring Dragon Company. It's not just the two of them. Almost all the higher-ups in the Wind God Sea Pavilion are enemies who've infiltrated our ranks and sought to destroy the Wind God's legacy, said Feng Xingyue. Long Chen's eyes widened in disbelief, unable to comprehend how things had deteriorated to this extent. Then why not use this opportunity to restore order to their chaos? Restore order to their chaos? The Wind God Sea Pavilion isn't in chaos, so why must the order be restored? Countered Feng Xingyue. The pavilion has been reduced to this state, and you still don't consider it chaotic? Long Chun was astonished, almost speechless. Feng Xingyue shook her head. No, what you've seen is not the true Wind God Sea Pavilion. This is merely a facade, a mask the pavilion wears. This isn't the true Wind God Sea Pavilion? Then where is the true Wind God Sea Pavilion? Asked Long Chen. Feng Xingyue silently looked up toward the Wind Dominion Pearl. Long Chen's heart shuddered as realization struck him. Are you saying this Wind God Sea Pavilion is just a deception meant to mislead its enemies? Exactly. Feng Xingyue gave a small nod, satisfied that Long Chen had caught on quickly. Now, tell me about your gains? Did you manage to acquire that? What do you mean? Long Chen asked, momentarily confused. Don't play dumb. You know exactly what I'm referring to. It's the thing that's tied to your source, Feng Xingyue said, her eyes sharp and penetrating. Long Chen's heart shook. Could it be? Long Chen stared at Feng Xingyue in disbelief. As he looked into her eyes, he felt like he understood everything, but it was still hard to accept. Senior, did you arrange all of this? His voice trembled at the thought. If Feng Xingyue had orchestrated everything, that would be terrifying. He knew what she was referring to, the piece of radiant world star crystal in his primal chaos space. That was why he was so shocked. Feng Xingyue shook her head. How could I have such power? This is fate. The moment those old fellows started scheming, I had a feeling that it would end up in your pocket. And it did. The 9-star lineage's karmic luck is starting to awaken. Otherwise, there's no way you could have acquired it. Senior, you know of the Radiant World Star Crystal? Asked Long Chen. The Radiant World Star Crystal is a priceless treasure for the 9-star line. It contains immense astral energy, but more importantly, it holds the profundities of the birth and death of a starry river. Comprehending it will let you truly step through the door of the 9-star line. This thing is very important to you, but I'm also not too sure about the exact details. You'll have to figure it out yourself, replied Feng Xingyue. Hearing that, Long Chen was delighted. The Earth Cauldron had also emphasized its importance to him. It seemed his luck had truly turned for the better this time. That's right. How did you get entangled in the Yen Su line's karma? Feng Xingyue's tone suddenly grew serious. Long Chen obediently told her about the precious story with Yen Hong. Upon hearing that Hualinger had devoured Yen Hong's power, Feng Xingyue nodded. No wonder. In theory, the Yen Su line's power cannot be controlled by outsiders. But when you condensed your 8-star battle armor using both lightning and flame energy, the Yen Su flame's power was devoured by your astral energy. That's how you're able to use it. Feng Xingyue had known of Long Chen's enmity with the Yen Su line, but she hadn't expected him to control the Yen Su flame. Now, after hearing his explanation, she realized that his stars had absorbed the Yen Su flame's power. It's best to avoid using the Yen Su flame. Utilizing it will bind you to them karmically, and Yen Su sons will soon find you. They are incredibly powerful, especially the first 8 sons, whose strength is comparable to Lord Brahma's 8 great divine commanders. Feng Xingyue warned. Comparable to the 8 great divine commanders? They're that terrifying? Then why was Yen Hong so weak? I saw his big brother too, and he didn't seem that terrifying, Long asked. Yen Hong is weak because Yen Su is still gravely injured. He is essentially in a dormant state, unable to grow and heal. But Yen Su's other 8 sons have been helping him recover for countless years. As a result, only their weak avatars can occasionally roam the world. What you've encountered are their weakest clones, each with less than 1/10,000th of their true power, explained Feng Xingyue. Long Chen was shocked. If what Feng Xingyue said was true, the Yensu line was no weaker than the Brahma line. Long Chun had always assumed that Lord Brahma was the strongest being in the world, but now it seemed there were others who could rival him. You shouldn't be too proud of killing Yen Hong. The Yensu line is undying. You can kill their bodies and destroy their souls, but you cannot erase their wills. As long as Yensu lives, his sons will be able to revive indefinitely. The stronger Yen Hong is when he dies, the more energy and time it will take for his revival. Aiding his revival will also severely slow Yen Su's recovery. So, if you encounter Yen Hong again, be cautious, Feng Xinyue advised. Does that mean if Yen Hong comes out again, it signals that Yen Su is almost recovered? Long Chen asked. Feng Xinyue smiled. It really was easy talking to a smart person. He instantly understood what she was saying, deducing the truth without her having to say it explicitly. If Yen Hong wasn't revived, it meant that Yen Su's recovery was at a critical stage and there wasn't enough energy for his son's revival. But if Yen Hong did return, it indicated that Yen Su no longer needed that much energy. Yen Hong had essentially become a benchmark to measure the Yen Su line's state. Since Long Chun had grasped the situation, Feng Xinyue switched the conversation back to the Wind God Sea Pavilion. The Wind God Sea Pavilion is keeping those idiots alive to trick its enemies. This way, the true Wind God Sea Pavilion can grow without problem. Over the years, the spies have done their part well. They've bought the Wind God Sea Pavilion many years to rest and grow. They thought they had killed the Wind God Sea Pavilion's true heavenly geniuses. But in truth, the geniuses had been transported to the true Wind God Sea Pavilion. However, before the Wind God Sea Pavilion is ready to display its power, we must endure. We left those old fellows alive, using the Wind Dominion Pearl to control them and deceive their masters. Although information about what happened here will soon leak, we still have time to prepare many things. Speaking of which, what was your goal in barging through the endless desolation? Asked Feng Xinyue. My first goal is to find my mother's violet blood race, replied Long Chun, not holding anything back from Feng Xinyue. The violet blood race? They appeared 13,000 years ago on the other side of the heaven essence world and then vanished. If they are still around, they would likely be deep in the endless desolation. However, crossing the entire heaven essence world is extremely dangerous for you. News of your presence will soon reach the Brahma Pill Valley, and their people may already know you are here at the Wind God Sea Pavilion. Once you leave, the Silver Hair Void Crusher will strike again, and this time he won't hold back. He won't give you a chance like last time, warned Feng Xinyue. Long Chen nodded. Feng Xinyue was entirely correct. As long as he stayed within the Wind Dominion Pearl's protection, the Silver Hair Void Crusher wouldn't dare to attack him. But the moment he left, he would be in danger without its protection. And your second goal? Asked Feng Xinyue. My second goal is to reach the Dragon Domain, said Long Chun. The Dragon Domain is also very far away, and you have to cross the Devil Sea to reach it. It's a rough journey. Feng Xinyue paused and thought about it for a moment before saying, but you should prepare yourself. The Dragon Domain situation is no better than what you see here in the Wind God Sea Pavilion. What? Long Chun was stunned. Could the Dragon Domain also be in such a dire state? The Wind God Sea Pavilion had essentially been entirely infiltrated and corrupted. Almost all the higher-ups were agents working for enemy factions. Long Chun had never seen such deep-rooted corruption before. If the Dragon Domain was in a similar state, that would be bad. Feng Xinyue said, the dragon race is constantly fighting among themselves, with each race prioritizing their interests. Not only do they have to fight off the attacks of the Heaven Devil race, but they also have to deal with the Brahma Pill Valley schemes. The dragon race is like a plate of sand unable to work together. If not for their individual power, they would have been destroyed long ago. If they could unify, as long as Lord Brahma doesn't personally act, there are almost no factions that could threaten them. Their situation is dire. Long Chun instantly understood that the Dragon Domain here was no better than the one outside the Endless Desolation. Without the Primal Chaos Dragon Sovereign to lead them, the dragon race had become fragmented. However, there was one key difference. Here, the dragon race was constantly under attack, facing endless battles and the threat of annihilation at any moment. "Senior, is there any way for me to get to the dragon domain?" asked Long Chun. Searching for the violet blood race was too difficult, so it would be better for Long Chun to resolve the problem with the dragon domain first. Most importantly, the dragon sovereign had told him that its Emperor Blood Reverse Scale was located there. If Long Chun could obtain the Emperor Blood Reverse Scale, he wouldn't need to fear the Silver Hair Void Crusher. Thus, he put the matter of the violet blood race aside temporarily. "If you wish to go to the dragon domain, there's a good method. I was about to send you and Tang Wan to lead the Wind God Sea Pavilion's disciples into the Wind Domain battlefield. You can reach the Dragon Domain's territory by going through the other side of the battlefield. That way, you can also avoid an attack from the Silver Hair Void Crusher," said Feng Xinyue. "What's the Wind Domain battlefield?" asked Long Chun. Feng Xinyue explained, "Long ago, the Wind God's experts left the human race's territory to fight the foreign heaven devils from beyond the heavens. The Wind Domain battlefield was the site of a massive conflict where humanity ultimately fought to the death against the devils, overwhelmed by the devils' sheer numbers. The Wind God's disciple, Feng Wuji, sacrificed his own life, using the Tao of reincarnation to unleash a supreme curse art. When this curse activated, it destroyed the foreign devils' souls. However, their wills persisted, and they turned into powerful devil corpses. Luckily, the devil corpses cannot leave the battlefield due to the effect of the curse. Every 3,000 years, the curse flares up, reducing their power greatly, even putting the weaker ones into a slumber. This is the best time to hunt on the battlefield, which lasts about a month. Many factions send people there to search for treasures during this period. The battlefield contains countless divine weapons and the bones of divine emperor-level experts. They also left behind their own inheritances and treasures for the right person. Divine emperors! Long Chun couldn't help but let out a startled cry. The strongest foe Long Chun had faced so far was the Silver Hair Void Crusher, a 9-vein human emperor. A divine emperor would be at least 10 times stronger than him, and that was beyond Long Chun's comprehension. There are divine weapons, legacies, and treasures scattered across the battlefield. Moreover, the cursed devils themselves are treasures. They come from beyond the heavens, so their devil blood, bones, and skin are priceless. Their remains can be used in medicinal pills, weapons, or armor. Do you know why the swords of the Wind God Sea Pavilion's disciples are so much stronger than other weapons of the same tier? Asked Feng Xinyue. Long Chun shook his head. The first weapon he saw from the Wind God Sea Pavilion was Qing Shi's sword. Long Chun knew that the material and craftsmanship were only average, but the sword itself was very strong. Feng Xinyue explained, "Those swords have been soaked in devil blood. A single drop of wind devil essence blood can turn over 100 ordinary weapons into wind element divine weapons, forming wind runes all over the weapons." "That's incredible!" Long Chun was amazed. A single drop of essence blood could turn 100 ordinary weapons into wind element divine weapons? It was simply unbelievable. Feng Xinyue nodded and started to explain. Different devils possess different kinds of energy. Because they aren't from the 9 heavens and 10 lands, many of their energies are foreign to us. Because of that, in the great battle of the Primal Chaos era, the 9 heavens and 10 lands were torn asunder by the foreign heaven devils. The 10,000 races were forced to retreat over and over again, and even our strongest experts of that time took hideous losses. After all, the heaven devils knew our strengths, but we knew almost nothing about them. Although we've now studied them and uncovered some of their secrets, it's only the tip of the iceberg. If we want more of their corpses to study, we need to go to places like the Wind Domain battlefield. The Sovereign Emperor Heaven has countless such battlefields, but most are buried in the endless desolation. In the vast Heaven Essence world, there are only 7 such battlefields, and 6 are controlled by other factions who allow only their own disciples and allies to enter. The Wind Domain battlefield used to be private to the Wind God Sea Pavilion, as its main forces were the descendants of the Wind God. The curse was also cast by Feng Wuji, one of the Wind God's disciples. However, due to its distance from the pavilion, we couldn't maintain control over it. Many sects backed by supreme factions started eyeing it, so under all the pressure, the Wind God Sea Pavilion was forced to open the battlefield to everyone. Whenever the Wind Domain battlefield's curse energy flared, the Wind God Sea Pavilion would welcome the chance. The pavilion's 8 divine sons and daughters would lead their respective squads into the battlefield. But now, only Tang Wanner remains, and the pavilion only has 1 squad left. Once inside, the fighting will be fierce. The 8 assistant pavilion masters, the 3 divine wind elders, and the rest of the higher-ups all have enemy forces supporting them from behind the scenes. The reason we haven't killed them yet is to avoid exposing the current situation. Buying time for you too. Upon hearing this, Long Chen finally understood her strategy. Killing a few key figures wouldn't be an issue, but wiping out all the corrupted higher-ups would alert their enemies, putting everything at risk. For now, it was better to keep those individuals alive, lulling their enemies into a false sense of security. Senior, then what do you think I should do? Asked Long Chen. In the Wind Domain battlefield, kill all your enemies. The time has come. This battle will signal the revival of the Wind Domain line, showing the world that we are back, Feng Xinyue declared. A cold gleam flashed in her eyes, and her voice exuded an undeniable arrogance and dominance. She seemed to transform into an entirely different person. Long Chen grinned, pounding his chest in response. All right, I may not excel at everything, but when it comes to killing enemies, I'm an expert. Long Chen was taken aback by Feng Xinyue. She was an enigma, and it was like there was nothing in this world that she did not know. Her knowledge of both the Brahma and Yensu lines was startling. From the way she spoke, it was clear that Long Chen's work for the Wind God Sea Pavilion had not been in vain. The rewards were bound to be beyond imagination. If anyone else had said this, Long Chen might have been skeptical, thinking they were trying to deceive him. But Feng Xinyue was different. Long Chen had absolute faith in her words. She even knew about the radiant world star crystal. After Tang Wanner woke up, she and Long Chen returned to Hidden Dragon Island. Upon returning, they were greeted by a somber scene. The Hidden Dragon warriors stood silently in the plaza, their eyes red as they stared at the corpses covered in white cloth. The pain of their loss was still raw. All of them felt like the fallen didn't deserve this. They had bitterly endured and were about to rise above their oppressors, only to die before they could savor it. Tang Wanner's eyes filled with tears again as she saw the bodies of her fallen comrades. Long Chen gently patted her shoulder, then turned to address everyone. Say your goodbyes to your sisters. Complaining or dwelling on it won't change anything. Some people give their all on the path of cultivation but can only walk with you for a short time. Now it's up to you to live for them as well. You must see the world and its wonders for their sake. After all, you are carrying their dreams and hopes for the future. To honor that trust, you must become stronger and go further. The name of the Hidden Dragon Legion must resound across the world. Let them feel proud that they were part of this legion too. Long Chen's words helped lift the spirits of the Hidden Dragon warriors. With renewed determination, they carefully placed the bodies of their fallen comrades in crystal coffins. But even though they felt better, it would take time for their hearts to fully heal. Long Chen didn't push them to resume training right away. Instead, he instructed them to meditate quietly, to slowly come to terms with their loss. This meditation also served another purpose, to relive their experience on the battlefield. At that time, they had displayed a hint of the Dragonblood Legion's fighting spirit. Long Chen wanted them to remember that feeling and build upon it. Afterward, Long Chen found a quiet place and entered seclusion, his mind sinking into the primal chaos space. Fuck! He cursed. All the precious medicinal plants in the primal chaos space had withered away. Even the Fusang and moon trees appeared wilted and lifeless. Alarmed, Long Chen quickly checked on the mysterious vine. It was teeming with life, and some parts had begun to bulge, showing signs of new shoots. The mysterious vine devoured all the energy of the primal chaos space for itself, severely affecting the other vegetation. However, after looking through the primal chaos space, Long Chen found that the 7 treasure-colored glass tree and the heavenly Dao tree were unaffected. This won't do. I need more corpses or I won't even be able to refine pills. What is this thing? It's wreaking havoc in the primal chaos space, Long Chun muttered, frustrated by the vine's rampant growth. Long Chun couldn't help sighing as he witnessed the withered-up state of the primal chaos space. Unable to resolve the issue at the moment, Long Chun turned his attention to a fist-sized crystal floating in the sky, the radiant world star crystal. Its brilliance was subdued by a layer of bronze light. This was done by the Earth Cauldron. According to the Earth Cauldron, if it hadn't suppressed the crystal's power, the primal chaos space would have absorbed its energy uncontrollably, so it placed this seal around the crystal. Long Chen's spiritual strength gradually seeped into the crystal, and he felt his soul being drawn into a vast river of stars. As he sat within this endless, flowing current, he was overwhelmed by its boundless energy. The river's vastness was awe-inspiring, even frightening. He felt like a tiny speck of dust, adrift in the cosmic flow of the heavenly Taos, utterly powerless to influence it. "Don't just sit there staring," said the Earth Cauldron. "Try to comprehend the profound laws of this chaotic river of stars. Compared to it, your starry sea is a pool of dead water. Although your starry sea also has a circulation, it's completely random. Now you have this river of stars as a reference. Carefully figure out how to make your astral energy undergo countless transformations." The Earth Cauldron continued. "Back when you fought the 9-star disciple, you stole quite a few techniques. Why couldn't you fully replicate them afterward? Why did they seem incomplete? It's because your starry sea is lifeless. But once you bring it to life with your intelligence, you'll easily wield the divine abilities of the 9-star lineage. You might even surpass that 9-star disciple's power." Excitement surged through Long Chun. He had exchanged blows with a 9-star disciple during the 9-star trial and was profoundly shaken by the 9-star disciple's terrifying techniques. Long Chun had memorized those moves and studied them afterward. But aside from the footwork technique, he hadn't been able to replicate the other abilities. Later, he learned the God-slaying cross. Although this was a powerful technique, it was a move designed for a single, decisive strike. It wasn't suited for long-term combat. Thus, Long Chun thirsted for the techniques of that 9-star heir. With the Earth Cauldron's guidance, Long Chun realized that if he could comprehend the orbit of the starry river, he would be able to use those moves. Of course, he would be excited. Hence, he started to focus on the starry river's chaotic circulation. Most people would have been overwhelmed by its complexity, but Long Chun had encountered countless cultivation techniques in his life. This challenge wasn't beyond his abilities. The starry river looked lawless, but it actually operated according to a set rhythm. Having previously studied his own starry sea, grasping this rhythm was nothing difficult for him. Once he understood the rhythm, his Dantian's starry sea began to resonate with it. The two forces started to interact, forming a strange resonance. No, what's the point of copying its orbit? If they are able to mutually attract each other, I just need to form a bridge. I can just let them interact. No? Long Chun suddenly thought of a much simpler method. The method that the Earth Cauldron had told him was not wrong, but after all, it had never cultivated the 9-star hegemon body art. Its methods were all extremely inflexible. On the other hand, Long Chun always innovated stuff. Once Long Chun let his starry sea interact with the starry river through space, his whole body started to glow with radiant starlight. The Earth Cauldron was shocked. "That's fast. Is he a monster?" Astral light swirled endlessly around Long Chun as he merged with the starry river from the radiant world star crystal. As the energy of the crystal intertwined with his Dantian's starry sea, he lost his sense of self, becoming one with this vast flow of stars. Long Chun sensed their interaction. At first, they just probed each other, clashing and forming ripples. However, they quickly started to merge with each other. Unbeknownst to Long Chun, his astral energy was awakening at a remarkable rate, something even the Earth Cauldron found astonishing. The Earth Cauldron was a divine weapon from the primal chaos era, and it had witnessed the rise and fall of the 9 heavens and 10 lands. However, this was the first time it had witnessed someone so quickly resonate with the radiant world star crystal and understand its core. What an unfathomable person! the Earth Cauldron muttered. When he's smart, no one can match him. But when he's stupid, he's in a league of his own. Even the Earth Cauldron couldn't decipher whether Long Chun was a genius or a fool. Long Chun sat in midair with a starry sea behind him. Within it, a river of energy flowed, like a fish exploring its new pool. As it swam, Long Chen's starry sea started to pulse with life. Wherever the river passed, the starry sea resonated, and astral energy spread across it. Suddenly, the Earth Cauldron cried out in alarm, "Not good!" It appeared above Long Chun, enveloping him and his starry sea in bronze divine light. Despite its swift action, it was a moment too late. Beneath Long Chun, the ground sank, revealing a massive black hole. Most frightening of all, this hole appeared without any warning or sound. It was really bizarre. Damn! Any slower and this entire island would have vanished. How has he already linked up with the radiant world star crystal's energy so quickly? The Earth Cauldron was in disbelief. The Earth Cauldron had a great understanding of the radiant world star crystal. It had seen many 9-star heirs before, and even the best of them took around half a month to resonate with the radiant world star crystal. Yet Long Chin had done so in under 2 hours. Not only that, but the crystal had completely let down its defenses, eagerly sending energy to expand his starry sea. Long Chen's starry sea rapidly expanded, birthing new stars and spreading across a vast area. The astral energy within it also carried a terrifying annihilation force. Without the Earth Cauldron's intervention, that energy could have obliterated the island. "Hey, wake up! Wake up!" The Earth Cauldron roared, forcibly waking Long Chun up. Long Chun jolted awake, and the starry river retreated back to the radiant world star crystal, leaving his starry sea. As Long Chun regained consciousness, an intense headache hit him like needles piercing his skull. He then opened his eyes to find his body covered in blood. His skin cracked as if he had almost exploded. "How did this happen?" asked Long Chun in alarm. "You're asking me? What were you up to just now? You just let the radiant world star crystal mess with your body? If it had continued expanding your starry sea, you would have exploded," chided the Earth Cauldron irritably. At first, the Earth Cauldron thought that everything was under Long Chen's control, and it had been impressed by Long Chen's rapid advancement. But now, it realized Long Chun had essentially been asleep, completely unaware of what was happening. Had it not intervened, Long Chun would have been crippled at the very least. As the starry sea grew too big, the energy reached his spirit root, spreading its influence throughout his entire being. To accommodate even more power within this starry sea, it began to expand not just his dantian, but his physical body as well. However, Long Chen's body was made of flesh and blood. How could it stretch to match the starry sea's growth? At first, the Earth Cauldron assumed that Long Chun was trying to test his endurance with this method. But when his skin burst open, it instantly woke him up. Had it acted any slower, the consequences would have been unthinkable. The Earth Cauldron's amazement at Long Chen's talent quickly turned to exasperation. Though it had no face, its loss for words at him was expressed through the flashing runes on its body. Damn! How dangerous! Long Chun jumped when he saw that his meridians were covered in cracks. If they had exploded, he would be doomed as hell. Repairing meridians was no small task, and with the journey to the Wind Domain battlefield ahead, he didn't have time for such a setback. Senior, take a look, Long Chun called out, spreading his inner vision for the Earth Cauldron to see. The Earth Cauldron then saw a powder-like crystal layer on his cracked meridians. The Earth Cauldron was shocked. "Little fellow, you've somehow turned a calamity into a blessing. Could the 9-star line's karmic luck truly take a turn for the better?" The crystalline powder was astral energy left by the radiant world star crystal, which had expanded Long Chen's meridians to the point of near destruction. However, instead of leaving him broken, the crystal had left behind energy to heal his wounds. Even with the Earth Cauldron's experience, it had never seen something like this before. Normally, refining the radiant world star crystal involved intense resistance, with the crystal needing to be coaxed or forced into submission. But here, it seemed to willingly pour its energy into Long Chen. Long Chen hadn't done anything, yet the radiant world star crystal simply handed over its energy, as if afraid that Long Chen wouldn't refine it. It also helped him expand his starry sea and the power of his physical body. This attitude was like it was set on making Long Chen's body its new home, and to make this environment a bit more comfortable, it changed things around. Despite knowing the radiant world star crystal's intentions were favorable, the Earth Cauldron sternly warned him, the radiant world star crystal's power isn't something to joke around with. It doesn't know how much is enough, and one slip will cripple you forever. You can't let it do whatever it wants. Take things one step at a time, all right? Long Chen nodded, but as he sat down to repair his injured meridians, he almost spat out blood. The primal chaos space was utterly devoid of life energy. He couldn't absorb any life energy to help him recover unless he wanted to extract the energy of the mysterious vine. However, that mysterious vine was just starting to germinate, and Long Chen didn't want to disturb it yet. Left with no other choice, Long Chen went to find Tang Wan'er and the others. Let's go. Big Bro will bring you hunting. The Hidden Dragon Legion charged into the heart of one of the Devil Race's tribes. Over 7,000 warriors split into 8 groups, surrounding the enemy. As their swords danced, the astral winds howled, slicing through enormous, horned devil creatures. As soon as these devils fell, they were bound by lightning chains and disappeared, only to reappear on the black soil of Long Chen's primal chaos space. In an instant, the corpses were devoured by the starving black soil, which then unleashed a large amount of life energy. Though these devils were only heaven saints, their life energy was equivalent to that of emperor-level beings. After passing through 3 devil tribes, Long Chen finally found creatures with abundant life energy. As more corpses filled the primal chaos space, the withered medicinal plants and the previously listless moon trees and fusang trees started to recover, greedily absorbing the fresh life force. The golden crows that once perched on the fusang trees had vanished long ago, turning into golden crow runes to sustain the trees when they started to wither. Now, with the trees reviving, the golden crows re-emerged, and flames flickered back to life on the leaves. However, despite the influx of corpses, the primal chaos space was still desperately lacking in life energy. To fully restore it, Long Chen needed to put more corpses into it. Meanwhile, the mysterious vine within the space was undergoing a nirvanic rebirth. It instinctively devoured life energy, absorbing most of what the primal chaos space had to offer. As Tang Wan'er and her sisters advanced, more emperor devil creatures appeared in their way. Those devil creatures exuded powerful blood qi, spewing flames that swallowed the battlefield. Make sure to strike precisely. Don't waste energy. Every attack should be a killing blow. Work together to create openings if there are none. Long Chen shouted. These emperor-level devil creatures put immense pressure on the hidden dragon warriors. They were powerful, as shown by the life energy they released when devoured. It seemed that the primal chaos space's black soil was an excellent judge of how strong a devil creature was. These devil creatures were stronger than their predecessors, but Long Chen needed them. After all, only powerful devil creatures could provide the life energy necessary to satisfy the primal chaos space. At first, the Hidden Dragon Legion had 3,600 members, but now, it included many new recruits, who were facing such a fierce battle for the first time. Their movements were clumsy, and their formation was disorganized. But luckily, the experienced veterans of the Legion were there to guide them. Having survived their last battle, they were now entirely different. Even under this much pressure, everything was basically under control. For everyone to work together seamlessly, they needed more experience. After all, there was no shortcut to reach an unspoken coordination just like the one existing among the Dragonblood warriors. Every failure became a lesson for them, and their formation steadily improved. This time, the devil creatures were far stronger. Though in the same realm, their power far surpassed the fiend wind blood devils. As tens of thousands of emperor-level devil creatures appeared, the pressure on the Hidden Dragon Legion skyrocketed. At this moment, the 8 retainers showed their killing prowess. With almost every blow, they felled these powerful emperor devil creatures. After experiencing a life-and-death battle and learning from their previous losses, they had awakened their combat instincts. Adding on Long Chen's training as well as countless resources, they started to show the style of true experts. The 8 retainers slaughtered emperor devil creatures in large numbers, reducing the pressure on the formation. Once the immediate threat was neutralized, they turned their focus back to assisting the ordinary warriors, helping them advance. Tang Wan'er, as the leader, followed a strategy. When the legion struggled, she would intervene, but as soon as they could stand on their own, she would withdraw, allowing them to grow stronger through the struggle. Hence, the 8 retainers used the same method to help the Hidden Dragon warriors. As they controlled the pace of the battle, the Hidden Dragon Legion gradually turned the tide. Even under intense pressure, they fought with increasing confidence. Tang Wan'er led the charge and directed her sisters. As for Long Chen, he stayed at the rear, cleaning up the battlefield. Just like that, the entire Hidden Dragon Legion advanced forward quickly. The more Emperor Devils they slew, the more life energy gathered in the primal chaos space. A faint mist of life chi started to appear in the air, still thin, but now visible to the naked eye. Wan'er, charge forward faster. We need more pressure, or they will start to take it easy, Long Chen transmitted to her. Though none of the warriors would slack off, the absence of mortal danger would reduce the effectiveness of their training. Hence, Tang Wan'er increased the pace. But the next moment, the earth shook violently, and an intense devil chi surged. An enormous devil creature erupted from the ground, sending rubble flying. Its terrifying aura crashed down on the Hidden Dragon Legion like a tidal wave, and raging astral winds buffeted them. 8-Vein Emperor! Exclaimed one of the retainers. The previous devil tribes only had 7-Vein Emperors, but now, they were facing an 8-Vein Emperor. This devil tribe was already far stronger than the ones before, and the appearance of its 8-Vein Emperor brought a devilish pressure so overwhelming that it nearly suffocated the Hidden Dragon warriors, stirring fear deep within them. That's a big piece of meat. Long Chen nearly drooled, eyeing its enormous body and sensing its surging blood chi. Tang Wan'er was about to take it on herself when Long Chen instructed the 8 retainers to join forces with the Hidden Dragon warriors and bring it down together. Many of the warriors felt their hearts shake when they heard this, thinking that they misheard. How could they fight an 8-Vein Emperor? But the 8 retainers, fully trusting Long Chen's judgment, felt their fighting spirit blaze. If Long Chen believed they could defeat it, they had no doubt they would succeed. With that confidence, they led their groups forward, attacking the giant creature from 8 directions. Seeing everyone attacking, the 8-Vein Emperor devil creature raised its foot and slammed it into the ground, sending a wave of destructive earth energy surging toward them. "It's earth energy!" exclaimed one of the retainers. This wave of earth was imbued with destructive earth energy and the full might of an 8-Vein Emperor. If it hit, many would surely die. The 8 retainers' expressions shifted as they braced themselves for the impact. "What are you doing? Did you forget everything I taught you? Use the wind's softness," shouted Long Chen. Wind inheritances contained countless transformations. Most wind element experts, however, focused on the wind's ferocity, intensity, and violence in their pursuit of maximum destructive power. But wind energy also had a soft side, much like water. This gentler form of wind energy was often overlooked as elementary, and many people looked down on it. Hence, most wind cultivators abandoned it altogether, never considering its potential. When Long Chen established the basic formations for the Hidden Dragon Legion, he noticed their greatest weakness. They relied solely on the hard, aggressive force of wind. In battle, using hardness against hardness often resulted in injuries on both sides. Against an immense force, such rigidity would lead to mutual destruction. Even with Long Chen's basic understanding of formations, he knew this was a fatal flaw. So, Long Chen devised a training regimen centered on the wind's softness. At first, many were confused and reluctant to embrace it, but Long Chen was adamant. They had to master this technique or face expulsion from the Hidden Dragon Legion. Even Tang Wan'er didn't fully understand why he would make everyone focus so much time and effort on this elementary energy, but she believed Long Chun had his reasons. Now, as a crisis loomed, brute force would be futile against the full might of an eight-vein emperor. Tang Wan'er had lost the initiative and couldn't possibly interrupt this attack, so the only one who could save the warriors was themselves. Hearing Long Chen's shout, everyone gritted their teeth. As the 8 retainers formed a series of hand seals, their violent wind energy softened instantly. After that, each warrior placed a hand on the back of the one before them. Their power merged as one, forming a gentle, unified flow. They didn't dare to believe that this soft energy could block the overwhelmingly destructive earth energy, but other than trusting Long Chun, they had no other choice. A gentle wind wrapped around them, causing them to feel as light as a feather floating in the breeze. When the apocalyptic wave of earth reached them, they were lifted, floating as the destructive wave crashed below. The wave crushed countless mountains, its powerful rumbling nearly deafening them. Astonished, they realized they had escaped unscathed. Even Tang Wan'er was struck by the effectiveness of their technique. The warriors were floating in the air as light as a feather. Just as a feather might float around a striking staff without damage, they had avoided the devastating attack of the eight-vein emperor. However, Tang Wan'er was not so fortunate. She swung her sword against the earthen wave, severing part of it, but the impact forced her back, nearly making her cough up blood. Although the attack was spread over a wide area, its power still overwhelmed her in direct confrontation. "This is our chance," shouted one of the retainers. After unleashing this attack, the eight-vein emperor had to take a breather to recover. This was the best time to attack it. Without hesitation, the 8 retainers shot forward like bolts of lightning, transforming the gentle wind around them instantly. They left behind countless afterimages as they flew through the air. Their swords streaked toward the enormous devil creature, slicing through its vital points. The devil creature roared in pain, and its body began to radiate with a wild chi wave. The 8 retainers quickly retreated, maintaining their positions as they rode out the turbulent wave. Though they appeared vulnerable, they remained steady, enduring the wave without faltering. After the violent chi wave, the 8 retainers attacked again. This time, all the hidden dragon warriors charged in as well, sending their sword chi toward the giant devil creature, whose defenses started to crumble under the storm of attacks. Long Chun nodded slightly. The hidden dragon warrior's wind energy was refined, capable of penetrating the defenses of an eight-vein emperor. They had come a long way from ordinary disciples to reach this level. This was all thanks to Long Chen's medicinal pills, wind spirit stones, the 7 treasure space, and everyone's hard work. They were like great hawks spreading their wings and soaring toward the heavens. With the creature weakened and covered in wounds, Xiaoyu struck a particularly effective blow, nearly cleaving its head in two. It went without saying that the cooperation of the 8 retainers had improved immensely during this time. Xiaoyu's attacks were the sharpest, and the others drew the devil creature's attention to give her chances to attack. Despite her efforts, Xiaoyu's strongest attack only managed to slice through part of the devil creature's skull. Her power had reached its peak, but it wasn't enough to finish it. The enraged devil creature let out a ferocious roar as its blood chi started to surge, signaling its berserk state. Everyone fell back, aware of the danger. Just then, a black saber pierced through its head, exiting from the back. The creature quivered, then fell limp as life drained from its body. Evil Moon returned to Long Chen's hand, and Long Chen stared at it speechlessly. Evil Moon could have simply gone through the wound left by Xiaoyu's attack, but it stubbornly chose to hit the devil creature in its toughest spot, right around its devil core. Evil Moon intentionally did this to show off its strength. As expected, the hidden dragon warriors stared at Evil Moon in shock, unable to believe what they had just witnessed. What weapon could slice through an 8-vein emperor's toughest bone like it was tofu? "Everyone, keep going," commanded Long Chun as he cleaned up the battlefield and led the group to a new location. Long Chen's intervention wasn't meant to display his power, but rather to preserve the giant devil creature's essence blood. Its essence blood contained its vast life energy, which was precisely what the primal chaos space needed right now. After that, Long Chun tossed the corpse into the primal chaos space. As expected, a huge amount of life energy was instantly released. The black soil had finally found a piece of fat meat and greedily devoured it, leaving nothing behind in a matter of seconds. As the dense life chi mist filled the primal chaos space, Long Chun noticed a subtle quiver within it. Hurrying to check on the space's growth, he looked inside the primal chaos space. A new sprout had finally emerged from the vine, but Long Chun was shocked to see it. A soft shoot sprouted from the mysterious vine. It was only 2 inches long, with 2 tender leaves, yet its color was startling, pitch black and surrounded by intense death chi. Black energy swirled around the shoot, forming a small cloud the size of a fist, and it was flickering with black lightning. Long Chen's heart trembled at the sight. This black lightning held a potent aura of annihilation, eerily similar to his heavenly tribulation's power. What strange lightning! It's fundamentally different from the lightning of heavenly tribulation, said Lei Linger, attracted by the lightning in this tiny shoot. How is it different? Long Chen asked. Heavenly tribulation lightning is made of countless types of thunder force mixed together, including one similar to this. But this lightning is pure destruction, it carries no other laws. It's incredibly refined, more so than the annihilation lightning I've absorbed. The difference in purity is astonishing, Lei Linger replied. As a lightning spirit, Lei Linger had unparalleled insight into lightning, yet even she was intrigued. It was her first time seeing this kind of lightning, and she was extremely curious. Lei Linger told Long Chun not to underestimate this tiny lightning as its destructive power was shocking. If harnessed, it could even kill a human emperor. It can kill a human emperor? Long Chun jumped in shock. The black lightning was thinner than a strand of hair, but it could kill a human emperor? That was terrifying. The soft shoot seemed alive, curiously surveying its surroundings through the black chi. When it noticed Long Chun, the black cloud quivered, and the little leaves waved as if reaching out to him, stirring a strange feeling of connection. Long Chun felt its emotional fluctuations and was taken aback. Was this the first time something in his primal chaos space seemed to recognize him? Slowly, he reached out to touch the black chi. As his fingers made contact, he felt a chill that sent shivers down his spine. This death chi is unbelievably pure, Long Chun muttered in surprise. Just what kind of origin did this mysterious vine have? A newly born shoot actually possessed such a terrifying death chi. If it spread, it could probably infect an entire world's laws, forever turning it into a world of death. Other than sensing death chi, Long Chun also felt a prickling pain when his fingers came into contact with the black chi. Lei Linger was right. This lightning was nothing like he had seen. It could pose a lethal threat to even 2 vain emperors. Gently, he placed his fingers on the soft shoot, and it responded by wrapping its tiny leaves around them. Long Chun could now sense its spirit more clearly. It felt like a newborn baby, and it actually seemed to view Long Chun as family. Long Chun could sense its pure heart. Although its outer appearance was frightening, its inner heart was as pure as a blank piece of paper. Long Chun was moved. If nurtured, this vine might grow into an extraordinary existence. Originally, Long Chun was worried about it. If it already possessed this much power at this size, what would he do once it grew up and he couldn't control it? However, after sensing its inner emotions, Long Chun relaxed and withdrew his hand. In response, the soft shoot shuddered as if trying to express something to him. Long Chun quickly extended his hand again, but he still couldn't understand what it was trying to say. He just saw it shaking but had no idea what it was trying to say. Staring for a while, Long Chun suddenly realized that it was reaching toward the black soil. Intrigued, he carefully uprooted the vine and moved it closer to the black soil. Long Chun kept a close eye on it as he moved it, finding that it grew more and more excited as he brought it closer to the black soil. It's not afraid of the black soil? Long Chun was surprised. Upon reaching the boundary of the black soil, the vine grew increasingly animated, tugging toward a particular direction, the heavenly Tao tree. When Long Chun placed it beneath the tree, it finally settled down. To his surprise, The black soil, which usually devoured everything, left this mysterious vine untouched. Instead, he found that the mysterious vine seemed to become even more energetic after being placed in the black soil. Seeing it thriving, Long Chun clicked his tongue in wonder. The black soil had always been a mystery to Long Chun. At first, it formed a circular area with the heavenly Tao tree at its center. Later on, the 7 treasure-colored glass tree moved in, and the black soil actually split in half. The central zone of the primal chaos space actually resembled a Taiji diagram, with 2 yin and yang fish inhabiting it. The area around the 7 treasure-colored glass tree thrummed with life, as countless medicinal herbs gravitated toward it. In stark contrast, the side of the heavenly Tao tree remained a desolate expanse of black soil, devoid of life. Aside from the heavenly Tao tree, nothing else could survive in the black soil. However, today, a mysterious vine had germinated there. Remarkably, even the heavenly Tao tree did not seem to reject it. Seeing the vine growing happily here, Long Chun decided to let it stay there for now. He sensed that this tiny shoot could grow into a terrifying existence. If nurtured properly, it might become a supreme weapon. When his mind left the primal chaos space, the battle outside had ended, so he gathered the corpses and quickly left with everyone. After all, they were in the endless desolation, where countless unknown threats appeared randomly. To be safe, it was best to strike quickly and then retreat. The Hidden Dragon Legion relentlessly pursued devil creatures, with Long Chun guiding them and selecting various devil tribes as targets. This strategy led to a rapid increase in their combat power and teamwork. After 20 days of battle, Long Chen's primal chaos space was finally teeming with life energy. However, he knew this state wouldn't last long. Without ongoing replenishment, it could quickly revert to its previous desolation. As the days passed, Long Chun realized that the hunt needed to conclude soon. Clenching his teeth, he rallied his companions, saying, "All right, sisters, let's go for a big target, the Fiend God battlefield." The Hidden Dragon Legion launched a fierce assault on the heart of the Fiend Wind Blood Devil race. The warriors attacked fearlessly, driven by the memories of their fallen sisters who had perished here. Today they sought vengeance. Their swords wrought devastation among their enemies, sending flesh and blood flying. The Hidden Dragon warriors had finally acquired their own special assault form. In this form, they could merge all their powers into a lance that could pierce through all obstacles. Once they initiated the charge, they became a force to be reckoned with. When Long Chun proposed returning to the Fiend Blood battlefield, no one objected. The last time they doubted him, they paid a painful price. Furthermore, after being with him for a few days, they started to view him as a god. They would follow him anywhere, even if it meant charging into the gates of hell. As the Hidden Dragon warriors reached the core of the Fiend Wind Blood Devil race, the Blood Devils came pouring out. In this place, even the weakest among them was a human emperor, resembling ants pouring out of their hive. Among this throng, 5- and 6-vein emperors were mere foot soldiers, while 7-vein emperors were plentiful, and dozens of 8-vein emperors roamed freely. This was the same ground where 17 Hidden Dragon warriors had fallen, their blood still staining the earth. When the warriors thought about this, their killing intent surged. "Kill!" Xiao Yu roared, fueled by her past helplessness. She had been unable to save her sisters back then, but she had returned for revenge. The charge of the Hidden Dragon Legion combined the might of over 7,000 warriors, a force capable of overwhelming even an 8-vein emperor. At the forefront, Xiao Yu swung her sword, sending an 8-vein emperor flying. The power behind her strike was bolstered by the collective wind energy of her comrades, so it was the combined attack of over 7,000 people. Even 8-vein emperors had to submit in front of it. This move was inspired by Guarant's Dragonblood Cross Slash, but adapted for the Hidden Dragon Warriors. After all, the Hidden Dragon Warriors were different from the Dragonblood Warriors. The Dragonblood Warriors had dragon blood flowing through their veins and the support of their dragon souls. With their bloodline power, they were able to merge their power perfectly. However, the Hidden Dragon Warriors had none of that, so Long Chun had to find another way to achieve something similar using their wind energy. As a result, once their wind energy merged, it was like a flood crashing forward, allowing the warrior at the front to act as the tip of the spear. However, the warrior leading the charge had to be strong enough, or they wouldn't be able to endure all that power. In any case, this formation was only a prototype with plenty of room for improvement. Long Chun was only able to give them this much, and they would need to figure out the path onward by themselves. Xiao Yu sent an 8-vein emperor flying with this power, which instantly raised everyone's confidence. They had gotten the sweet taste of working together. It was important to note that, without their formation, they would have been decimated by an 8-vein emperor. But now, even an 8-vein emperor had to be wary of them. That was the difference. The hidden dragon warriors stealthily glanced up to see Long Chun overlooking the battlefield. His presence gave them unwavering courage. They barreled through any devil creatures that stood in their way, leaving devastation in their wake. Once the charge began, it was nearly unstoppable. Yet, it had a critical flaw. If they halted, their combined strength would dissipate. Regaining this momentum would take time, leaving them vulnerable in the meantime. In other words, stopping mid-charge meant being surrounded and risking total annihilation. Hence, this charge meant no retreat. Even if it led them straight into the gates of hell, they had no choice but to push forward. The 8 retainers took turns leading the way, each becoming the arrowhead, carving a path of destruction wherever they went. From above, Long Chun observed as the hidden dragon legion tore through the devil creatures like a scythe through dry stalks. His blood burned with pride, watching this group of brave women take its first true steps toward greatness. To him, it was like witnessing the dawn of a new day. He knew that one day, their brilliance would shine across the heavens. As the hidden dragon legion advanced, roars echoed ahead. The aura of 9-vein emperors loomed, and dozens of similar presences erupted in their path. Seeing this, the hidden dragon warriors gritted their teeth and charged forward without hesitation. In response, the 9-vein emperors roared and charged at the hidden dragon legion as well. They were intent on a brute force clash. At this moment, Tang Wan-er, who had been observing, surged to the front of the formation. Raising her sword, she formed hand seals with the 8 retainers, channeling the legion's wind energy into her manifestation. "Wind swiftness, heaven-rending slash!" she shouted, bringing her sword down. The world seemed to split apart as an enormous sword image descended, striking the legion of 9-vein emperors ahead. The ground exploded, and the heavens cleaved open. Multiple 9-vein emperors were obliterated instantly, while the remaining ones were sent flying by the sheer force of her sword chi. The hidden dragon warriors erupted in cheers at the sight of their triumph. But just then, a vast pressure appeared in front of them like an iron wall. They crashed into it at full speed, so each warrior was momentarily stunned. Tang Wan-er bore the brunt of the impact, blood spilling from her lips as she felt her bones threaten to shatter. "Foolish humans, you have dug your own grave," a chilling voice declared. The space ahead twisted ominously as an ancient blood devil emerged. Unlike the others, this creature resembled a human, but it had 4 horns and glowing blood-colored runes in its eyes. The pressure radiating from it far surpassed that of any 9-vein emperor. Just its mere presence had halted their charge. Tang Wan-er gasped in shock as she sensed its overwhelming might. "A devil emperor? No, your master said the leader here is a half-step devil emperor," Long Chun said, looking at the ancient devil creature, who was radiating torrential devil chi. "So, this is a half-step devil emperor." In the Eternal Realm, there were 6 minor realms, but the Emperor Realm was divided into 2 levels. The first was the Human Emperor Realm, while the second was named after the race of the Emperor. For humans, they could be called Divine Emperors or Immortal Emperors due to the split of human cultivation into God and Immortal paths. For the Devil race, they were called Devil Emperors, while the Demon race called theirs Demon Emperors. Other beast races had their own branches too. For example, the Dragon race's Dragon Emperors or the Pung race's Pung Emperors. However, the devil creature before them was not a true Devil Emperor. It had only just touched the boundary of the Emperor Realm, earning the title of a half-step Devil Emperor. Even so, A single foot in this realm made it countless times stronger than a nine-vein emperor, and its aura alone was enough to crush them. Foolish humans, face your deaths! The half-step devil emperor exclaimed and raised its hand, causing heaven and earth to quiver. Tang Wan'er and the others were instantly immobilized, unable to even twitch a finger. Everyone was horrified by the immense power of the half-step devil emperor, which left them utterly powerless to resist. Hey, hold it! Old thing, as a half-step devil emperor, you're not supposed to be so blind, right? Long Chun hastily waved for the elder to stop. The elder's eyes flared with rage, but noticing Long Chun pointing upward, it followed his gaze and froze. Tribulation clouds had gathered in the sky, and its expression shifted. I've heard that someone on the verge of breaking through could accidentally trigger their own tribulation if they interfere with someone else's. How about we test that theory? I'd love to see what a devil emperor's tribulation looks like. Long Chun taunted. The half-step devil emperor went pale. The torrential devil chi around it vanished as it suppressed its aura with all its might. If the tribulation were to lock onto its presence, it would be forced into a deadly tribulation it couldn't survive. Though these devils were from beyond the heavens, generations of dwelling in the sovereign emperor heaven meant they were bound by its laws, including heavenly tribulation. This was unavoidable. Just as the elder's aura receded, Evil Moon appeared in Long Chen's hand, aimed straight at the elder. Waning moon pierces the dome of the heavens. A streak of black light shot from Evil Moon's tip, striking the half-step devil emperor in the head. Although it cut to the bone, it wasn't enough for a fatal blow or even a serious wound. Bastard! The half-step devil emperor roared furiously. Long Chun had attacked just as it was suppressing its aura. If it hadn't activated its protective light in time, the attack would have pierced its skull. Just as its fury exploded and it was about to attack, Long Chun pointed to the sky once more and made a gesture to be quiet. At that moment, the tribulation clouds swelled, seemingly sensing the half-step devil emperor's presence and threatening to change. The elder's face fell. If this tribulation transformed into its devil emperor tribulation, it would kill everyone in the area. You wretched human, just you wait! The elder spat and fled, disappearing instantly. The surrounding blood devils also scattered. This heavenly tribulation incited them a sense of immense fear, even making them abandon their stronghold. Then, torrents of lightning struck the ground, leaving craters and turning hard rock to dust. Sisters, this tribulation is fiercer than before, thanks to that old devil's interference. But I know you can handle it, Long Chin shouted. Last time, Lei Linger had collected the Thunder Force just as it was about to dissipate, allowing the new hidden dragon warriors to be tempered by it. With that experience behind them, the hidden dragon warriors had managed to cast aside their fear of the heavens. As for Long Chun, he let the lightning fall on him and flew toward a mountain, drawing the tribulation's eye with him. This mountain was the core stronghold of the fiend wind blood devils. From there, he spotted an altar with over 10 coffins. Counting 18 neatly placed coffins, Long Chun was delighted. The Wind God Sea Pavilion's information really is accurate. Even the number of coffins is correct. Long Chun went to one of the coffins and kicked it open, revealing a corpse inside. Devil Chi immediately poured out of it. Ha ha ha, yes. Long Chun laughed crazily. This was the corpse of a half-step devil emperor. Long Chun had flipped through the books in the Wind God Sea Pavilion, and according to their records, these corpses came from half-step devil emperors who had failed their devil emperor tribulation and had their souls extinguished. However, their physical bodies were left intact and were preserved here, so the heavenly geniuses of the fiend wind blood devil race could use the corpse's bloodline power to aid their own breakthroughs. Long Chun tossed the corpse into the primal chaos space's black soil. The moment it touched the soil, it was devoured. The entire primal chaos space quivered as life energy surged forth, filling the space with vitality. In just a few short breaths, the primal chaos space was in its peak state. Furthermore, as this life energy filled it, the laws within the primal chaos space underwent a subtle transformation. Ha! I've struck gold this time. Long Chun shouted with glee as he kicked open the next coffin. But the moment he did, a hand shot out, filled with terrifying devil chi that shook the world. "A zombie!" screamed Long Chun. A claw suddenly shot out from the coffin, lunging at Long Chun and startling him into sidestepping hastily. The void exploded in its grip and quickly went still. Long Chun then wiped off some cold sweat from his head. Mo Nien would have handled this better, given his knack for archaeology. A corpse on this level would never decay. Its physical body was not withered at all, and its combat instincts still existed. When Long Chun kicked the coffin open, the shift in airflow triggered the corpse's reflexes, causing it to instinctively launch an attack. Though soulless, its body retained ingrained instincts, resulting in this automatic strike. Seeing the corpse no longer moving, Long Chun carefully probed it and then pulled it into the primal chaos space. From then on, he opened each coffin from a safe distance. Fortunately, no more zombie reactions occurred. He transferred all 18 bodies into the primal chaos space, about to place them on the black soil when the earth cauldron suddenly interrupted. "Have you forgotten something? Forgotten something?" Long Chun was baffled, glancing at the coffins with their carved devil blood runes, which he couldn't decipher. He wasn't sure what use they had, if any. He didn't feel like these things had any value to him. "Think harder," the earth cauldron urged. Long Chun was baffled. Had he really forgotten something? But even after a long time pondering, he couldn't tell what the earth cauldron meant. The earth cauldron finally said, "Last time, on the fiend blood battlefield, what did you lose?" "What did I lose? You mean the silver wing heaven devil puppets?" But, Aya! Only then did it hit Long Chun. He had brainlessly tossed 6 corpses into the black soil and couldn't pull them back. Long Chun stamped his foot in frustration. These were the corpses of half-step devil emperors, and Long Chun had forgotten that he knew the green parrot's curse art. The Heaven Soul Blood Curse, a technique used for controlling corpses just like this. If Long Chun could control a half-step devil emperor, how helpful would that be? These blood devils were no match for the silver wing heaven devils in raw power, but their physical bodies remained perfectly intact, uncorroded by time. If Long Chun could gain control over them, they would unleash devastating force. Most importantly, they still had plenty of energy in them. Rather than expending all their strength in a single attack, these bodies could be used continuously. Luckily, Long Chun still had 12 of them left. He quickly transferred them from the primal chaos space to his spiritual space and used his spiritual strength to imprint his mark on each. With this branding complete, he could use the Heaven Soul Blood Curse to control them fully. At this moment, the heavenly tribulation intensified, and an endless stream of lightning beasts rained down from above. Seeing this scene, the hidden dragon legion stood firm, their formations growing more cohesive and adaptive with each strike. This allowed them to withstand the fierce onslaught. Lei Linger had transformed into millions of lightning dragons, swimming through the air and devouring the lightning runes that scattered whenever the hidden dragon warriors destroyed a beast. After taking the corpses, Long Chun spread his divine sense and suddenly swung Evil Moon. Boom! The entire mountain split apart. Half of it crumbled, while the other half remained intact, revealing a vast cave with 2 treasuries inside. The first one was filled with white bone divine weapons, the innate weapons of bone devils. Only blood devils who had reached at least the Emperor realm could leave their bone weapon here, so this cache held a formidable collection of Emperor-level weapons. The second treasury was filled with devil crystals. However, they were golden instead of blue. Only pure-blooded blood devils whose cultivation bases had reached the Emperor realm could condense these devil crystals. They were invaluable to the fiend wind blood devil race, as heavenly geniuses would absorb these crystals to break through bottlenecks in their cultivation. Together, the bone weapons and golden devil crystals represented the race's most prized resources. Fortunately, the hidden dragon warriors remained focused on battling the lightning beasts. If they had seen the golden devil crystals, their attention would have shifted immediately, weakening their combat efficiency. Long Chun waved his hand, gathering them all. He directly tossed all the bone weapons into the black soil, and they released an amazing amount of life energy. In an instant, the Fusang tree's golden crows soared around the branches like miniature golden suns, thriving as their power reached unprecedented heights. Ha ha ha! I've really struck gold this time. Long Chun laughed excitedly as he sensed the aura of the golden crows. Long Chun discovered that once the half-step Devil Emperor corpses were absorbed, the released life energy triggered a powerful transformation in the Fusang trees and golden crows, whose aura now matched that of a heaven saint. As pure golden crows, their auras were as vast as the sea, their true power unfathomable. The thought of Huolinger commanding this formidable golden crow army sent a thrill through Long Chun. If they could grow to the emperor realm, who in existence could possibly stand against her? As the primal chaos space's flame god, Huolinger controlled everything within it. She could direct the golden crows to fight at her command or even draw upon their power for herself. Long Chun couldn't imagine what would happen if she compressed the full power of these golden crows into her. Just what kind of terrifying force would she unleash? Meanwhile, beneath the heavenly Dao tree, the mysterious vine was flourishing. It had sprouted 4 leaves and reached 3 inches in height. Black chi continued to swirl around it, with black lightning streaking inside. It was growing rapidly. Though its aura was dark and sinister, as long as there was enough life energy, it wouldn't suppress the other vegetation. Strangely, whenever it sensed Long Chun, its aura would soften, as if it had already accepted him as its master. Grow strong, all of you. When the time comes, we'll conquer the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Long Chun exclaimed, clenching his fists. Time. All he needed was time. As long as he had enough time to grow, why would he fear someone like the Silver Hair Void Crusher? When Long Chen's mind left the primal chaos space, the heavenly tribulation had ended. His aura had leaped to the Earth Saint realm, and the eternal runes in his dantian got even closer to his spirit root, almost touching. Long Chun felt like they would touch once he reached the Heaven Saint realm. But as for what would happen when they touched, no one knew. As the last of the tribulation clouds faded, Tang Wan'er activated the divine wind transportation formation she had acquired from the Wind God Sea Pavilion. Using the Wind Dominion Pearl's power, they were instantly transported back. The moment they arrived, they spotted Feng Xinyue waiting for them. The moment Long Chun and his companions arrived at the Wind God Sea Pavilion, they noticed Feng Xinyue and a divine emissary waiting for them. Are we moving out now? Tang Wan'er asked, startled. With a warm smile, Feng Xinyue asked, do you have other preparations to make? Tang Wan'er smiled back. There was indeed nothing more to prepare. She was no longer the old Tang Wan'er. After facing the trials of the 7 treasure space and the loss of her sisters, she had grown stronger and more independent, ready to face any challenge. Now, she had the ability to stand on her own. Seeing Tang Wan'er's confident smile, Feng Xinyue's eyes held a touch of sorrow. But before she could speak, Tang Wan'er embraced her. Master, thank you for shielding me from the rain all these years. But I have my own responsibilities and missions in life. When I grow up, I hope I can block the rain for you. Tang Wan'er understood Feng Xinyue's feelings. Her master had always treated her like a daughter. But now that Tang Wan'er had learned to be independent, Feng Xinyue felt a sense of loss, as if the distance between them had suddenly grown. She couldn't help but feel a bit bad. Good child. I have been waiting for this day, Feng Xinyue said softly. But for now, don't worry. As long as I'm here, no one will dare to harm you. Gently, Feng Xinyue smoothed Tang Wan'er's hair and adjusted her robes with a motherly smile. Still embracing Tang Wan'er, she looked at Long Chun and meaningfully said, you should understand what I mean. Of course, Long Chun replied, understanding her unspoken message. Though her words seemed directed at Tang Wan'er, they were meant for Long Chun. Feng Xinyue clearly implied that Long Chun could beat or kill anyone who dared to bully them, no matter who. No matter what happened, she would support them. Seeing him nod, Feng Xinyue nodded to the divine emissary and stepped back. Carrying a broadsword on his back, the divine emissary strolled over with an easygoing air, tapping the sword playfully. He had none of the solemn demeanor one would expect from a peerless expert. Hello, brothers and, well, one brother and many sisters. I'm Yi Lingkong, the Wind God's left emissary. Though I've lived for many years, my heart is still young. He introduced himself. And you still look very young, quipped Long Chen. Ha ha ha. Many thanks for your flattery, brother. I like that. Yi Lingkong laughed and then became serious. Originally, there were supposed to be 16 teams heading to the Wind Domain battlefield. But now it's just you. Fewer people make it easier to lead, and with your strength I don't need to worry. Hearing that it would just be them, Long Chen and Tang Wan'er exchanged a look. Feng Xinyue had mentioned that the Wind God Sea Pavilion was concealing much of its strength. But wasn't this trip to the Wind Domain battlefield critically important? They were puzzled that no other experts were joining them. All right, prepare to move out, Yi Lingkong said, waving his hand. Spatial energy enveloped all of them, and they were instantly sent out of the Wind God Sea Pavilion. Just as they came out of this spatial transportation, a terrifying aura struck them, shocking Tang Wan'er and the others. It was on a similar level to the suffocating pressure of a half-step devil emperor. A 3-meter bird with 2 horns and vibrant, multicolored feathers stood before them, its blood chi radiating so intensely it seemed capable of tearing the sky apart. A Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow? Exclaimed Long Chen in shock upon seeing this bird. It was a species with a primal chaos bloodline, and he had only ever read about it. Seeing it in person was astonishing. As expected of the High Firmament Academy's youngest dean in history, your knowledge and vision are truly admirable, Yi Lingkong praised, not expecting Long Chen to recognize the Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow. This is my old partner, the companion I trust with my life. I've tried giving it various names, but it disliked them all and settled on calling itself Horn Swallower. Yi Lingkong explained, somewhat resigned. He clearly felt that this name was lacking. I actually like it, simple, direct, and strong, Long Chen said with a nod of approval. Compared to Horn Swallower, the names that Long Chen gave, like Cloud and Little Snow, were truly lacking. They were plain and unimaginative. Long Chen couldn't help feeling embarrassed at himself because of it. The Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow chirped in agreement, rubbing its beak against Long Chen's shoulder in a friendly manner, as if he was a close friend. The name might be strong and domineering, but it's not exactly elegant, Yi Lingkong sighed, shaking his head. Feeling the Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow glaring at him, Yi Lingkong quickly changed the topic. All right, partner, our mission is to bring them all to the Wind Domain battlefield. You've gone with me there dozens of times. It's a familiar route. Let's go. The Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow gave a low cry. Hearing this, Yi Lingkong rolled his eyes and retorted, sending them to their deaths? Don't worry, this time is different. This fellow's strong. He won't die. Although no one understood what the Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow said, it was evident from Yi Lingkong's response that it seemed worried about Long Chen's safety. Wait. Does that mean everyone else who has gone to the Wind Domain battlefield died? Long Chen asked, surprised. Well, not everyone. A few of them are still alive, Yi Lingkong replied. What? Tang Wan'er and the others were stunned. Was the death rate on the Wind Domain battlefield that high? Why had they never heard of such a thing? What's so surprising? If people like Chen Renxue, Bu Qingyan, Mad Lightning, and the others didn't die there, what else would they be good for? Yi Lingkong asked in response. Long Chen's jaw dropped. So, when Yi Lingkong said the heavens didn't give birth to useless people, did he mean those divine sons and divine daughters were merely raised as sacrifices to trick their enemies? That was quite a vicious move. All right, move out. With a wave, Yi Lingkong signaled the Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow to spread its wings. It grew in size and everyone climbed onto its back. After that, they took off, vanishing in a radiant streak of 7 colors, soaring toward the unknown dangers of the Wind Domain battlefield. The Qilin horned heaven-swallowing sparrow's wings sliced through the air, creating a rumbling sound as it soared across the sky, leaving a rainbow trail in its wake. As it passed over ancient cities and sects, Long Chun noticed countless admiring gazes from below. That feeling was truly satisfying. "Is this some kind of show of might?" asked Long Chun, glancing at Yi Lingkong, who was lying on the Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow's head. Gazing up at the sky, Yi Lingkong looked very relaxed with his legs crossed and hands tucked behind his head. "But of course, if we didn't flaunt our strength, people might forget what kind of power the Wind God's Sea Pavilion represents, or the Wind God's great name," replied Yi Lingkong lazily. "Is this not a bit too exaggerated? What will we do if we encounter any other factions attending the opening of the Wind Domain battlefield? Won't there be a fight?" asked Tang Wanner curiously. "Possibly. If they want to fight, I'll oblige," Yi Lingkong replied with a shrug. "Don't worry. While I can't control what happens inside the Wind Domain battlefield, I can guarantee your safety everywhere else." Tang Wanner hesitated before speaking. "Well, I don't know if I should say it, but—" Yi Lingkong sat up and smiled. Looking at Tang Wanner, he guessed, "You're thinking I don't exactly look dependable with my laid-back appearance, aren't you?" Tang Wanner laughed, covering her mouth. "You're amazing. You guessed it in one go." The hidden dragon warriors chuckled. Although Yi Lingkong held the high rank of the Wind God's left emissary, he came off too carefree and lighthearted, like a big child, hardly the figure of authority they'd expect for someone of his caliber. If not for the existence of the Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow, they might have felt a bit uneasy to show off like this. "My power can't compare to your master's, but it's more than enough for this mission. If there is a chance, I'll show you some of my abilities so you know that my title as the left emissary of the Wind God is not fake. But I am not sure whether we'll get that chance," said Yi Lingkong, taking Tang Wanner's teasing in stride. Hearing his statement, Long Chun instantly smiled. "You don't need to worry about that. With me here, I guarantee you'll have that chance." What kind of joke was that? When it came to fanning the flames and starting fights, Long Chun had never admitted defeat to anyone. He was always surrounded by idiots who would jump at his blade. If trouble was nearby, they would surely find him. Yi Lingkong eyed him cautiously. "That smile seems a bit sinister." Just then, the Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow shook its head, causing Yi Lingkong to nearly lose his balance. "Hey, am I not even allowed to say anything about his sinister smile?" Yi Lingkong said, exasperated. His contracted divine beast was clearly favoring Long Chun after he had praised its self-chosen name. If Long Chun were to continue to flatter it, Yi Lingkong worried it might just switch sides altogether. The sparrow's antics brought another round of laughter from the group. Yi Lingkong's easygoing nature made him approachable, allowing everyone to feel relaxed and at ease around him. Their journey was a winding one. The Qilin horn heaven-swallowing sparrow flew neither in a straight line nor too quickly. As Yi Lingkong had mentioned, they were making a deliberate show, reminding the factions below that the Wind Domain battlefield would soon open, and the Wind God Sea Pavilion was ready to participate. This action would feel childish to Long Chun if it was done by someone else. But he knew that while this left emissary of the Wind God looked frivolous, Long Chun doubted his actions were without reason. There had to be some deeper meaning behind this action. Long Chun had wondered why they had to move out a bit early, but now he knew that they were actually traveling in a rather roundabout manner. At first, Long Chun enjoyed the admiring gazes of the experts in the cities and sects down below, but the novelty wore off quickly. Closing his eyes, he retreated to his primal chaos space. Everything inside was as expected. The black soil had devoured 6 half-step Devil Emperor corpses, releasing a lot of life energy. There should be any problems here for a while. After that, Long Chun shifted his focus to his spiritual space, where 12 blood devil corpses lay. His spiritual strength had already seeped into them, marking each with his spiritual imprint. That's faster than expected. Long Chun was surprised at how quickly his spiritual strength had permeated the corpses. It was likely thanks to the unique properties of the primal chaos space. After all, they had stayed there for a bit before being moved to his spiritual space. Moreover, Long Chun noticed something golden on each corpse's forehead, an emblem resembling a gate. Long Chun suddenly looked up. His divine gate star was hovering above, casting its light across the spiritual space. Realizing that the divine gate star's energy had assisted this process, Long Chun marveled. 9-star Hegemon body art. Just what kind of cultivation technique are you? The more I know, the less I understand about you. Each of the 8 stars Long Chun had condensed held unique powers. However, he knew far too little about them. Today, he unlocked yet another formidable ability. With this newfound power, he could place the Heaven Soul Blood Curse directly on these puppets. Taking a deep breath, Long Chun summoned his Yuan spirit in his spiritual space. He then condensed a drop of blood on his fingertip and traced a rune on his forehead. This rune was the Heaven Soul Blood Curse rune. With the rune aglow, he lifted his finger, causing it to split in two, one remaining on his forehead, the other on his fingertip. Taking another deep breath, he flicked his finger, and the curse rune fell on the forehead of one of the corpses. Instantly, the corpse trembled violently, and devil blood runes illuminated across its body as if life were returning to it. Following that, devil chi slowly swirled out of it. Its withered devil blood started to thaw and circulate. As the devil blood circulated, its aura rapidly grew. All of a sudden, its body swelled. Not good. It's going to explode. Long Chen's expression changed. As the devil corpse's runes activated, its aura surged, and its body began to swell rapidly. Long Chen jumped in fright. The green parrot had never mentioned this kind of scenario in the technique it had taught him. Just as Long Chun prepared to eject the corpse from his spiritual space to let it explode outside, the golden divine gate quivered. In an instant, the devil corpse vanished and reappeared in the primal chaos space, where its exploding runes crumbled under the primal chaos laws. Long Chun breathed a sigh of relief. Looking into the primal chaos space and seeing the corpse, he saw that it was already ruined, its runes black and smoking. Long Chun then tossed it onto the black soil and returned to his spiritual space. When he looked at the next corpse, he couldn't help but hesitate. Don't be suspicious. The green parrot's curse art is correct. This process just has a chance of failure. Keep going, the earth cauldron urged. Hearing that, Long Chun felt much more at ease. No longer doubting the curse art, he tried it again. Buzz. Fuck! Long Chun cursed furiously. It was another failure. Once again, the divine gate transported the corpse into the primal chaos space, and Long Chun tossed it onto the black soil. Settle down. You planned to use these as fertilizer anyway. Even if you fail with all of them, you won't have lost anything, and you still get free experience, advised the earth cauldron. Long Chun took a deep breath and nodded. Senior's teachings are correct. I was too impatient. After calming down, Long Chun recognized his own greed and changed his approach. Even if they all failed, he'd still have fertilizer. Buzz. Another failure. Buzz. And another. Success or failure no longer mattered. He was simply experimenting with the curse art, testing different techniques with his spiritual strength. Although the green parrot had taught him the basics, he was certain it had held back a few tricks. However, there was no room for him to grumble, as it was something he had conned out of the parrot anyway. Was he really hoping for the parrot to teach him its secret techniques wholeheartedly? After 7 failed attempts, he finally succeeded on the 8th. This time, the devil corpse's runes vibrated harmoniously, without losing control, connecting seamlessly. Ah, I get it now, Long Chun said with a smile, seeing the flashing runes around the corpse's body. With this insight, he tried again, succeeding on the next attempt. In the end, out of 12 corpses, he managed to activate the blood curse on only 3. Now, the curse would slowly awaken them, gradually restoring the blood and chi in their bodies over 10 days as per the parrot's instructions. Once complete, they would be his most powerful puppets. Long Chun was in an excellent mood. If he could control these 3 corpses, wouldn't he be unmatched in the wind domain battlefield? After dealing with the devil corpses, Long Chun turned his focus to studying the radiant world star crystal. With his prior experience, he sensed that its defenses had relaxed. When his soul connected with it, its power once again flowed into the starry sea within his dantian. This time, however, Long Chun didn't dare to let it move unchecked. Although it wasn't trying to harm him, it had no sense of when to stop. Allowing it free rein could very well cripple him. According to the Earth Cauldron, the radiant world star crystal contained the power of an entire starry river. The starry river had long since perished, but the star crystal remained eternal. To wield its power, Long Chun would need its acceptance and the physical resilience to contain it. His goal was to let the radiant world star crystal's energy upgrade his starry sea. With this strengthening, his starry sea would eventually contain the crystal's immense power without risk of shattering, though the path would be long and painful. Luckily, the radiant world star crystal lacked any wariness toward Long Chun and seemed to only want to help him. This was beyond the Earth Cauldron's expectations. This time, as the radiant world star crystal's energy entered Long Chun's starry sea, it caused the entire space to boil. At the same time, he felt a burst of pain in his meridians. Previously, the crystal had strengthened his body by forcibly injecting astral energy throughout his meridians and flesh. But now, with his starry sea activated, the energy immediately filled every part of his body. Despite the extreme pain, Long Chun was thrilled. Previously, mobilizing his astral energy would require a long process and preparations, but now he could freely move his astral energy through his body just like his bloodline power. He could freely summon it at will. The pain basically stemmed from the inability of his physical body to endure this astral energy, but he knew that it would adapt soon. Thinking of how he would be able to freely use astral energy, he was excited. If he could use his astral energy at will, wouldn't he be able to easily use the 9-star heir's secret arts he had learned in secret? The prospect of unleashing those formidable attacks ignited a fierce anticipation within him. However, he first needed to carefully control the radiant world star crystal's energy. His power was overwhelming, and he had to handle it cautiously. The crystal seemed impatient, constantly pressing to advance his body beyond its limits. His astral energy coursed through his meridians, diffusing throughout his body. However, the radiant world star crystal wasn't content with a gradual spread. It attempted to force his astral energy deeper, directly into his flesh and blood. Long Chun immediately intervened. Regardless of whether he could endure the pain, the strain would leave him half-crippled, unable to fight for some time. With the wind domain battlefield opening soon, he couldn't risk it. Thankfully, he managed to stop the crystal's advance in time. The radiant world star crystal reluctantly withdrew. Long Chun, on the other hand, was left drenched in sweat, his vision spinning with stars as he fought off the dizziness from the intense pain. Before he even had time to consume a medicinal pill to recover, the void around him shuddered, and an immense blood chi surged through the air. Long Chun heard the Qilin horn heaven swallowing sparrow's startled cry, which was laced with fierce fighting spirit.